9 o'clock, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Busy day today.
Morning.
First on the agenda is approve the minutes of February 20th as written.
Also moved.
Second.
Moved by me, seconded by Huguenin. Any discussion?
I'll abstain on that.
Yep, you will abstain.
Needs and who, Huguenin?
Yeah, me, Huguenin, seconded. Steve abstains. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. We don't have any miscellaneous motions. We've got to wait another 4 minutes for our public hearing.
You can watch the clock tick
You
again.
get to watch the clock tick again. I don't know, unless River City has a 4-minute, you got a 4-minute update? We had you at 9:15.
I can be quick.
Okay. If you want to, I think we can do that.
Yes, sir. No, progress been going pretty well, as hopefully everybody can see or gets to see. We poured our column line 29 or Y and 29 footings last week and the week before. I'm gonna have our first wall pour this week, and electricians are on site doing underground this week, and we're looking at plumbing underground starting in the next week or so.
Good.
But everything's going pretty well so far.
Gonna have a cold snap, Wednesday, I think it is, Tuesday morning?
Yes, sir. As long as we can stay dry. That's the big thing. It's looking pretty good. We've had good weather.
Good.
At what point in time will you pour the west wall and north wall?
They've turned and started up the west side. We're gonna leave the north out a little bit, just for access.
Yeah.
They're gonna come back after that and start on some of the interior on this east side, and to allow some of the plumbing to go. And then the elevator will be the next thing. It's our deepest.
Is that the big part down here in the south corner? Is that the elevator?
That would be the Sally Port, that
Sally.
square down there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, that's Sally Port. And we have, about mid on the south side will be the first elevator, and then there's one mid, a little farther east, towards the north side.
Oh,
But, other than that, everything's been going pretty good.
beautiful weather.
Yes, it has been, especially for construction.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Stay dry and warm.
Yes, sir.
Well, this 1 day or 2 days of cold snap, it's not gonna last long, so.
No.
Shouldn't miss a beat.
They're not talking any moisture.
Shouldn't be
on that one.
Unfortunately, I'd hate to see the moisture, but, we sure can use it.
There's times, yes. Yes, for sure. No?
Yes,
Any
sir.
other questions for him?
But how long, I forget what the county's was on the plumbing. Is it gonna take him like a week to plumb it, or?
He'll be in for, I don't remember the duration we gave him. He'll be probably more than a week, a little over, probably closer to 2.5 weeks
Roughly.
for his underground. And Skillman is actually digging for our electricians and plumbers, so they're gonna be able to tie into their utilities all at the same time. We shouldn't miss a beat, should have less issues, and everybody working together.
Awesome. Sounds good. Less issues, no issues are great.
Yes,
How-
sir.
how
So by the end of March, we'll have the floor and it'll be going vertical for working on it. Is that right?
I believe we'll be close, by the end of March, having our first floor pour. I think we're gonna break it up into 4, to allow the masons to get started in certain areas and our steel coming in. We got our anchor bolts showing up today to start our anchor bolts, on our walls. So we're starting to see little steel show up with that.
Awesome.
Very good.
How thick's that floor? Is it a 6 or,
A lot of it's 8.
a lot of it is 8?
Yes. There's sections of 4-inch, but I believe the majority of it is 8-inch. And then we actually had one, I think there's some that's 12, certain small areas, yeah.
Very well, thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Enjoy the nice weather. We're at 9:05, motion to enter into public hearing at 9:05 for the purpose of hearing and answering any questions regarding Lake Region Solid Waste Plan.
So moved. I'll second that.
Moved by Hugan, seconded by Thompson, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Are there any is there any comments from the public? Not much public here.
You consider public?
Not public.
Only when you're not here.
No, there were no comments from the public. No public comment, there we go. I guess, next motion to close the public hearing at 9:06 a.m.
So move. I'll second.
Moved by Meeks, second by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next motion, move to approve resolution number 2024-779, L as in Louis. A resolution adopting the Lake Region Solid Waste Management Plan. I'll move.
Second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Huda. Any discussion?
Is this the one where Shawnee County was joining it, is that correct? And another county?
Yeah. Shawnee County is adding to it, correct? That's what-
Yeah, that should be, so I know the next motions you guys will have will be the amendments that changes some of that. This for this 5-year one right now, this Shawnee
Okay,
County's not a
okay.
part of this one yet.
Okay, all right, that's not time for that question.
They-
All
I
right.
wasn't seeing it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we have to sign this. We're waiting.
Morning.
All right, next motion is to move to approve and sign Household Hazardous Waste Collection Program Interlocal Corporation Agreement Amendment Number 4.
Can we be briefed on what that is? I apologize, I don't have my new email set up to preview. You have a quick rundown summary, Todd?
Yeah, this is the 4 right there. It's got the highlighted changes there, just dates.
So basically, this is just interlocal agreement for household hazardous waste collection,
With,
adding Shawnee County
okay,
to it.
this is the point where
Yes.
it addresses waste.
Okay, so I guess that was, I guess I don't understand what this all entails.
So our
Why are
region
we
has
adding
6
it?
member counties, and we have been talking about expansion for a year or so, adding other counties to our region. And I think it speaks volumes for our region that Shawnee County would like to join. And so there's been also a discussion about other counties joining us as well. So,
What is the benefit?
well, one of the benefit for them or for us?
Either way.
Well, if you're not part of a region, you have to have a local solid waste committee. We used to have one years and years ago. But being a member of the Lake Region takes care of all that for all member counties. So we don't have to have the commission appoint people to this committee. So that's a huge benefit alone. Another benefit would be for our region. We've got a very good coordinator that works for us now, but she's part-time, and adding another county in there would also increase her hours and hopefully, you know, help extend her stay with us.
Is there hazardous materials from Shawnee County coming into
No.
Suffolk County?
No. They will stay in Shawnee County.
This strictly is household.
It's
Correct.
household hazardous
Right,
waste
right.
on this agreement that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna have anything from Shawnee County come to Coffee.
So, I mean, my only thought, and maybe this is irrelevant, but when we bring a huge population area into this district, are we losing control of it then, or maybe we don't have any control of it now? I mean, I don't know. how
No, we're
to set
not
up or
losing
how it
control
works.
of it. We're just adding them to, they'll have their own members on the committee, like Ryan and I are, the representatives for Coffee County. They would have a couple of.
So they're not gonna have
They're not gonna be
more
able-
members
No.
per population than we do, or the
No.
other smaller counties, population
Everybody has
counties.
equal representation.
Okay, that was my concern, I guess.
Didn't want to lose, if there is anything of control, there's no control,
Right.
basically. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes.
Who moved
Woo.
on that?
Oh, sorry, let's back up, strike that,
I'll make that motion.
sorry.
That's right, I asked a question before it came time to ask a question.
I'll second. Moved by McCreary, seconded by Knight. Any discussion? Now we're gonna get to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We sign this one?
I think these are all the signature pages of that four.
And we will need 2 copies of each one of those.
Okay.
Each one.
Actually, 2 originals.
Okay.
Each one of these interlocal agreements only is to add Shawnee County.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And we would have had Shay here presenting this, but she's, I believe, in Osage County.
Yeah, she
Right
couldn't
now,
make it, she wanted to be here,
presenting
but she felt like she needed to be up there, that you guys could probably answer questions too.
Go ahead and run this next motion. Move to approve, sign interlocal agreement establishing a solid waste authority. Amendment, I messed something. Reread this. Move to approve and sign interlocal agreement establishing a regional solid waste authority amendment number 6.
So moved. And second that.
Moved by Hughes and seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. Next motion is move to approve and sign memorandum of understanding and agreement of recycling resources recovery and waste reduction amendment number 5.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Meeks, seconded by Hughes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And that was the last one.
Now, you want me to get Connie to come down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions regarding this?
I think so.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
I'd
Enjoy the
like
nice
to-
weather.
You pick your hazardous materials up and leave on Saturday, don't you?
That's just recycling.
That is totally
Yes.
recycling all.
Household hazardous waste has to be brought to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you got an email from you on Saturday, you work, or Sunday, you working on Sundays now? 7 days a week?
He always does.
Sometimes.
No football game to watch, so you were bored and decided to work?
No, I had to get that to you.
He was working last time when I called him yesterday.
Yeah. No rest for the wicked. Well, I can assure you I didn't work yesterday. I took one phone call.
Over the week.
Over the weekend.
Hi.
Morning, Connie.
How are you?
We're running a little ahead of schedule,
Good,
which is great, but
good, yeah,
it's not gonna advance us too far.
no. Well, I was letting you guys know that my values are going out, on March 1st, which they do every year. Our values are going up approximately 15% on homes. This is because of sales in the county. Our mid-year ratio for the state that they grade us on was 82.5. We're supposed to be between 90 and 110, and we're not. So I've been really being really conscious the last 2 years, and this year I just had to raise values. The sales are killing us.
Last year was what, 8.5?
At 7.7.
Seven.
Mhm.
So then you're going up, what'd you say?
15%.
15%?
I'm going to give you guys all a copy of what guidelines the state has on me, so that you guys know why I do what I do.
That's based on sales, is that right?
Yeah, this is all the information that the state requires and all the deadlines and everything that they have that I have to
So
follow.
what you're doing is just catching up a little bit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I just want you guys to be aware of it. I'm also putting something in the newspaper regarding this, and also putting information out there about the homestead tax relief for older citizens and veterans, disabled veterans. So
You
that should be
mentioned-
hopefully in this week's paper
You mentioned the grade came back at 82.5,
for mid-year for 23.
which we know that will.
When I did our values for this year, for all the sales for last year with increasing our values, it's coming in approximately 97.29 on our last year's sales when I increased the values this year. So that's where we're at.
So the new increase will get you up in that 97 class,
Hopefully, yes.
which that's where you have to be based on
Yes, we have to.
statutes and based on everything that ties into it.
Yes, sir.
You've got to meet that criteria.
Yes.
And that's by state, I mean, that's,
Yes,
okay.
yes. That's state statute that I have to follow. So I'm just trying to make sure that we're up there so the state doesn't come in and take us over.
Well, as long as the public will know and be able to read and see that it's not us doing it.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I tell everybody.
Right. That's why I wanted to bring it to the meeting so everybody knew what was going
Right,
on.
right.
Okay?
See, last year, I think Lyon County went up 11 or 12,
Right, and they're up almost 110 this year,
much.
between 107 and 109. So, the next one is Lafayette County, they're at 113. Most of them's around 110 for their indexes for this year, for our southeast area
Compared to last year.
compared to last year. For this is for 2024.
So they did a bigger jump last year and
Exactly.
put them in the safe mode.
Right.
We didn't do the bigger jump.
Right, I was trying to be conservative,
Yeah.
trying to see what 23 sales were doing. So, that's where we're at. Does anybody have questions?
We'll just point them towards Topeka and say, go north.
Yep, that'll work. Good luck.
Thanks, Connie.
you.
Thank you.
Amber's on the way. We've got some signage we can do. Mark will figure out some way to put that in big bold letters on the front page, right?
Been working on that. Just brought that in though, we could
County commissioners raised
Yeah,
housing
yeah.
taxes.
Exactly. Yeah, we raised the value. Nope.
Yeah, that's like the real estate land prices, you know, are 3 times higher than what they were 3 years ago, and it's all gonna be figured in.
Well, it's not just here either.
Pardon me?
And it's not just here from what I.
Well, it's every
Right.
county in the
Well,
state.
in the country.
And, yeah, so,
I mean, from what I mean, people I've talked to in
yeah,
other states, and it's,
well, yeah,
it's the same.
more in other places,
Yeah.
even than it is here, right?
Like up in Two Rivers, Wisconsin, where we like to go frequent, theirs is going, kinda like crazier than ours on sales.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's, they got a nuclear power plant too, in their backyard, if it was, like 20 miles away.
Wow. I just like really skipped way ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that policy manual discussion will take longer than what.
That's too bad we couldn't do some of it up. What's the who are the attendees for manual discussion?
I'm assuming Wade Nelson. Morning, Amber.
Good morning.
We're running way ahead of schedule. Way ahead of schedule. You need to sit down and take a break. I would. You just come up 2 flights of stairs.
How you doing, Amber?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, okay.
We got you down for a full hour, you gonna take that long?
Hour.
Oh, 15 minutes.
Yeah. They limit me.
Well, it is an hour,
Want me to
from
talk?
10 to 11.
Don't want me to
Yeah.
talk too much. She was only gonna be here. If someone else would have scheduled, we would have did it. Okay. Emergency management. We are, holding our, National Weather Service Public Weather Talk, March 20th, 7 p.m., the 4-H building here in Burlington. Severe Weather Awareness Week is March 4th through 8th. The statewide tornado drill is March 6th at 11. We will sound all the sirens that day, along with everybody else in the state. Flyers for all these events have gone out by email to the newspaper, which I just did this morning. And Julie's putting it out on social media, but here are the flyers if you guys would like some. So our local, and wait,
You need me to say?
yeah, just for a second. Our local emergency operations plan, which we've been working on for about 5 years, was finally approved by KDM. So they approved it, but they want us to go ahead and do the promulgation statement, which is basically saying that we approve it too. And I know last time I talked to you guys, we talked about, you guys might want to review it, but definitely Wade wanted to probably review it. Here it is. It's 400 pages long. And I emailed you about it, but.
And 20-point font over, right?
Yeah, it's front and back at least. Now, I was nice and I brought it electronic too if you need it, so. I didn't know if you guys wanted a copy of it, if you wanted to give it all to Wade.
Look almost like our employee handbook.
Some of it's
Times
charts
5 or
and maps and stuff, I mean,
Hold
it's
it.
not all,
There's 250 pages that printed on both sides.
No wonder it took 5 years to.
yes.
You
Well,
know
it was
that
1,000 pages until we got it fixed.
That's the condensed version.
Yeah. Because
Yeah, that's right.
in
Fix it, budget review.
in 2015, we hired a bad contractor, apparently, and he shoved everything he could in our plan, and it was 1,000 pages long. And it's taken us this long to get it down to this, and hopefully we're in way better shape than we were. So, the problem with this is they usually give you, normally they'll give you 90 days to get the promulgation back, but I have some grant requirements that say we have to have an approved LEOP by March 31st of this year, otherwise they want to stop giving me grant money, because they've given me grace periods for several years, and it's finally time. The grace is up, so they would like to have the promulgation signed by the commissioners March 31st. So there is kind of a deadline on it. And I do have, here is the email stating they approved it, the signed letter that they approved it, and then the promulgation statement that they want us to sign. Those can stay with it too.
Well, speaking for myself and myself only, I wouldn't be able to look through that.
Okay.
Number one, and to say if it's right or wrong.
Right. So the
Because
good,
I don't eat, sleep, and breathe that stuff.
the good news,
And that's,
good news is, we will take this plan and break it up in sections, and we review it at our LEPC meetings, which is our Local Emergency Planning Commission meeting. And then Julie and I do reviews on it annually, so, you can trust that it will be looked through, and it will be, looked through by all organizations. So we'll break it up, and the part that talks about law enforcement will be reviewed by all the law enforcement people, and the fire, and the, such and such, so, we do review it annually.
I have to entrust or echo what Jesse said.
Okay.
You,
That's just what I.
that's
was
what we
thinking.
hired you for, is to manage this department, and that's part of your duties there, I assume, so. I couldn't tell you what should or should not be in that.
Yeah, not my knowledge base, that's for sure.
Okey-doke.
That's the same thing I was gonna say, Jesse made a comment ahead of me, and Tom speaks it. But, you take a document that thick, and we got the responsibility to know what's in it. I realize that. But we could read through that and not have any idea if it's accurate or not. That's the reason we've got to rely on people like you.
There you go. And Wade.
And Wade too,
Wait, dang, or whatever that.
I know.
You couldn't review that in a weekend.
No.
What would be in that that's even would need to be blessed by Wade?
There's, a few legal requirements, due to emergency statuses. He's not gonna be able to know if the firefighter's procedure is right or anything. He'll
Well, that's
probably
what
just skip
that's
over
fine.
that part, but there are some legal things that I would like him to review in there that talk about when we go into a state of emergency, or, the delegation of authority, all that kind of stuff that's in there. And if there's something that he sees that, doesn't quite fit, then we can
So,
look at it.
for I'm not trying to speak for Wade, but I mean, would it be helpful for him if you knew where those areas were, and be able to highlight them for him, or?
I mean, I could
Or-
I just don't know what he
I'm not trying
wants
to speak for
see.
him, I was just.
Right, I just don't know.
We'll get together and
Okay,
I'm a fast reader when it comes to some of that. but-
and you'll see there's sections that you get to that you just get the whole thing, 'cause it's just, you know, like,
I mean, it's what happens and anything to do with what the county's responsibility is really what you're focusing on. So one section, this flip and through it dealt with animal sheltering.
you can
I'm
see
not
that.
sure I'm gonna spend a whole lot of time on that because it's sort of probably a universal process. But anything that has to do with the local responsibility, for example, your responsibility, if during a recent drill we ran into the situation where we might not have all of you there or enough to be able to make decisions, then how that rolls down and who's next in line and who makes decisions. And there were some nuances to that particular situation that we had to have a discussion about, which could happen in real life. So
Yeah.
knowing what that procedure is so that if it's handled correctly, does it fall next to the sheriff, does it fall next to Amber, does it fall
Oh, it
next
goes
to
to
the
Angie
clerk?
first.
Right, and so,
Angie gets it first and then me. What? Delegation of authority for the county. It goes chairman, vice chairman, the rest of the commission, and if there's not enough for that, then it goes to sheriff, then it goes to you, then it goes to me.
Lucky you.
And there's a few layers.
There's a few layers, yeah.
There's a few, but we peeled some layers during that last drill, so,
Mhm.
that's why that came up. Yep. Okay, yep, we'll get with Wade and talk about that. As for the rest of our plans, and I might have said this last time, our Lyon County Reception Center plan that we write for them was approved by FEMA. Our Coffee County Wolf Creek plan, not the LEOP, but the Wolf Creek plan, has been through the state's review, and they have some suggestions, and Julie is finishing up those suggestions this week, so it should get kicked to FEMA, and we should have FEMA's approval on it, so that's another plan down. And then next we will start on our Woodson County reception plan that we write for them to open shelters and take care of our people during the Wolf Creek event. We'll start on making that plan match the Lyon County plan, and then we start on our hazard mitigation plan, which is a plan we're required to have in order to get FEMA funding for any kind of disaster or event. It is a regional plan. They didn't think that every single county needed a plan, so we go regionally with our area, and it's all kind of template like this, cookie cutter type stuff, so we'll start on that pretty soon.
How big a region? I mean, how many counties are
I
involved?
think that region is 7,
Seven.
yeah,
I was just curious.
7, I think.
Lyon County is at Hartford now, is that correct?
Yes, Lyon
Your
County is
location
at
was
Hartford,
moved to
yes.
Hartford, correct?
We are from Neosho Rapids to Hartford High School. Yes, that was approved, and that's what this plan that FEMA and the state stamped the approval on is moving to Hartford. So, yep, thanks for bringing that up. Fire radios, all fire radios are done. So all fire radios have been programmed, all the new stuff's in there, everything's good with fire radios. The highway department's handheld radios are done, and they're starting on the mobiles. I believe this week they're starting on putting, it's gonna be a little bit of a process with the vehicles, because, you know, they don't just have a truck sitting at Road and Bridge, it's a loader or a, dump truck or something funny, so they have to mount some things in some weird areas, under the seats, behind the seats, up above, so the install goes a little bit different than just a regular, sheriff's car or truck or whatever, so, it may take a little bit longer with the mobiles. We're still waiting on the figures from TFMcom for the towers, so that we can get you guys the cost to start the piggy bank, to be thinking of the long-term plan for what we want to do with towers. And then also so we know the best locations that they came up with, so we can start talking to landowners about, can we put something there, you know, what's going on with that. On radios, when you sign bills this month, you'll notice that we had a hefty bill that I had to pay out of the radio budget. In the name of transparency, it was an $8,000 bill. I have it in my budget, everything's fine, but just wanted to let you guys know what it was. We had to purchase 100 licenses for the new radios that we bought to load them in our radio manager system with Motorola. They're $80 a piece, and we neglected to purchase these licenses when we ordered the radios. Normally you purchase them when you get the radio, but our rep didn't remind us that we needed to order them then. There's no price difference. They gave us the regular price, but we got the radios. They spent all the time programming, and they were going to jam them into our program that keeps track of everything, and it wouldn't go. And we're like, well, go. And Motorola said, well, you got to buy a license, dummy. So we bought the licenses. So we really probably need 100 more, but these 100 that I bought will get us through for right now, and then we can look at buying the other 100 later on down the line. That was just an unexpected cost that came up, and I went ahead and submitted the bill for it to be paid this week.
So you have to have a license for each radio?
Each radio,
Wow.
yes. Every radio, to put it on our system. And what that does is Radio Manager allows you to, allows it to do the Wi-Fi capability, it allows it to do the GPS stuff. It allows you to track all of these radios in a database that is secure and accessible by all of our Motorola people. It's a good program, but it's a single vendor program, so I didn't have to go out for bids or anything, because only Motorola sells licenses to Motorola stuff, so. Yeah, so, it also allows them to be, you know, batch programmed where we can get all the fire guys at one station and then send out an update and it goes to everybody.
So this license isn't about broadcasting license?
No, we
it's a
already have,
license
right.
just to put it in their
Yeah.
system, correct?
Yeah. We don't have to have our radios in Radio Manager, but we prefer to because it allows us, since we program our own radios, which most counties don't, we can change the radio aliases, we can change all kinds of stuff on the radios through Radio Manager, and it keeps track of everything that we do. So like I said, I had to buy 100 just so Martin could get the highway department stuff going, and then we'll buy 100 more down the line a ways. But wanted to let you know on that. And it's one-time cost for these licenses. So like for Steve's radio, we bought a license to put it on there, and we'll never have to buy it again. If you got another radio, we would reuse that license.
That license could be for new radios?
Yes.
As long as the radio's decommissioned.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Stays
Yeah.
with you, not the radio.
If you wanted 2 radios for some reason, we would have to get another license for it. So when this next 100 is enough to get us through everything that they needed to do, plus a few extra, because we know we're going to be trading out some consulates for dispatch, and we know that people are going to need radios here and there, and so we just have a few extra on hand, and they don't expire. So I believe that is all I did have one question for you. What is your take and what's the process for, do you do reviews for department heads annually? How are you doing that? Because I saw some people coming in for job reviews, and then some people I've never done
I
it.
think the last that was handled, it was handled via department, wasn't it, Wade? And you're talking annual review?
Uh-huh, yeah.
I think that was during the step increase time, is that not right?
So during step increase time, that's when you sort of do the evaluation of department heads. There's not been, I guess, a formal in the open or behind closed door review. You can only do that really for those who you appoint, but I guess you could do it you can have the discussion about elected officials and, you know,
Open.
what's happening, it has to be done on the open.
Right.
So if you wanted to start that and set it up in April, and then each of the appointed department heads, so health department, emergency management, appraiser,
Treasurer?
road and
No,
bridge,
not treasurer, road and bridge.
recycle noxious weeds, economic development. I feel like I'm missing one. IT,
Yep.
you could do that then.
But that's something that has not been done
Yeah, I've never done it.
to,
Yeah.
there's been periodic, I guess it's not been set in stone, that that's
Right.
what we do, it's what we do.
I just wanted to check in and make sure, because I saw some people doing theirs, but they are appointed officials. And like, I think health department, her temporary period was up, so she came in and did something.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing something, because I've never done one, so.
Not to my knowledge.
We don't have to do them. If you don't want to do them, we don't have to.
There's been some discussion on having reviews for the department heads back 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I don't know whether I'm the reason why they haven't continued with it, because they used to do a little of it. But how do you review somebody that you never worked side by side with? You know, the only time we see Amber's in here, or walk down in her office, and I don't know what the right procedure ought to be. I just know that we'd have a hard time analyzing your value to Coffee County when we never worked side by side.
Well, see, and they discussed that before, because you guys don't get in on the day-to-day stuff, but man, when we do one thing wrong, that's all you hear. And that's it. And that may not be completely fair if that's the only thing you hear. I do know there is a process that Lindsay Perry used to do way back in the day. It was peer reviews, where you had people who you actually do work with every day, like I would get the sheriff or Brad from IT or, you know, somebody at the hospital or something. And they would kind of do a review of you and then submit that to you guys. I don't know. There's a number of ways you could kind of do it, but if you felt like that you weren't able to do it based on how much time you spend, you know, around what we do, that could be an option too. I don't know. Peer reviews, it's like called a 360 review or something. But I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something, because I'd never done one, and I think I've been in this job 2 years.
I'd be open for any, you know, suggestions, but, you know, just like when I was at the LROs, you know, we had reviews, but I worked side by side. The hours, I knew exactly how to review the employee and how to grade the employee. But this is a different ballgame, Amber, and you know, what's right, what's wrong, I'm not real sure.
Well, and you can also put up a form where we review ourselves to you. I don't know how honest those always are, but mine would probably be pretty honest, unfortunately.
come back, all 1 to 5, all come back to 5.
Mine, well, I never think I do enough, so mine would come back probably 2.5. Right in the middle. We used to do pretty stringent, reviews with employees. We had a process, everything just kind of fizzled out. I know some people, at one point, I think they said that there were some department heads that didn't like their reviews, and so they just kind of quit doing them. But to me, that's not really a reason to stop. That's more of a reason to improve the process. If you don't like your review, there's probably a reason you don't like your review. But I plan on doing reviews with my employees. I don't know what the other departments are doing. I kind of feel like, you know, you're here, you're getting step increases. There needs to be something for you to work towards. If you're just here getting a check, what's the point? Let's look at what you're doing. Let's look and see how you've done, and compare it next year and see, you know, what we need to do. That's how I feel about it. I've always loved reviews. I've always liked reviews for employees because I feel like it gives them something to strive for. But that's just me.
Yeah, there's a lot of, from what I've experienced here, you know, is if they're doing department head review to the employees that the department head is over, you know, little Billy, little Susie, little whoever, you know, there might not be such a great review on them, but yet they're on the step increase plan.
Absolutely true.
You know, so I mean,
absolutely true.
how do we, speaking for myself, how do I go, okay, well, Frankie didn't have a very good review, but yet department head, you've got them in for a step increase.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that might could help it, and everybody rolls their eyes when I say this. When I was hired, I was not given any training how to be a department head. Now, granted, I've been in this office for 20-some years, and I've seen what makes good managers and what makes bad managers. And I know the process. But somebody coming in new, let's say like Amelia, if she didn't already know how to do good evaluation, we probably should give them training or send them to something or give them a good structured process for doing evaluations. Because we've never really done that. We used to have a good form that had some check boxes and stuff on it, and I don't even know if anybody uses that anymore. I don't really know.
I'm sure it's still around. I don't know if it's being used or not.
Yeah. Before that, we had a scoring system, and you had to have a certain score or you did not get your step increase. You had to have it. But like you said, I know personally that there were some department heads that used it as retaliation. I know that there's some that scored them just high enough to get their step increase, but then bashed them in their evaluation. I'm like, well, if they did that bad, why'd you give them their step increase? So, I don't know if it's a training thing. I don't know if it's just a common knowledge thing. I really don't know what the answer is to that.
This was discussed, and I don't know if you remember, somewhat in our department head meetings, and it might be something to bring up at the next one, because if I recall, there was a lengthy discussion about who was doing them, why they were doing them, why they weren't doing them, and then
I think last year when,
if I recall, the consensus was most said they weren't going to do them, and then it sort of died at that point. But it can be topic one at the next department head meeting, and we can reinitiate that dialogue. I think part of it too was that there's a requirement for appointed department heads versus electeds, and then I think there were some electeds who weren't doing it, and then if you're not doing it for everybody, then sort of what do you do at that point? Because the goal is to try to treat everybody fair across the board, and I think in some instances that wasn't necessarily happening because you have that tension between the two, and then what do you do then? So I think it's a good discussion to have, because I'm open to to hearing everybody speak about what they're doing and why,
Yeah.
or why they're not interested in it,
Right.
to
Well, that-
initiate that conversation.
And I don't really think HR Partners was too keen on the reviews. If I remember Christina saying, you know, you got Billy over here that's got a poor review, but yeah, you gave him step increase, that could be maybe used as ammunition from another person. Saying, well, Billy got a step increase, why not I, you know, because he had a bad review as well. I don't know, I mean, I can see an issue with that.
I think the encouragement was for each department to evaluate if they wanted to do something internally to do it that way, but, you know, I understand your point too. And I think it's a right conversation for discussion.
I didn't mean to bring it up.
Could sure make for a lot of turmoil.
I know, I know, but I,
Possibly not saying it shouldn't be done,
No.
I'm just saying.
it
if
didn't
it's
used
not
to be,
done
it didn't
fairly.
used to be that difficult, so I don't know what exactly changed.
People's feelings got out on their shirt sleeve.
If I remember right, when we had that discussion, the discussion part of it was that if there was an issue at the time, then you would take care of it at that time.
Right.
And not wait till.
Right,
I
and
mean,
that is one thing that I did not like about some of the evaluations was, well, on January 10th, you did this, but I'm waiting until December to tell you.
Right, and I think that was discussed, if I remember right.
So-
And there's a lot of.
Right, and so that's where I'm thinking some training, maybe we bring someone in, I know everybody's gonna scream when I say this, but bring someone in, or maybe some kind of online training for that. You know, what is the right way to evaluate someone? How do you make it effective, I guess is what I'd say. Because, yeah, telling someone they did something bad back in January and then not giving them their step increase
Yeah, that's,
after a whole year,
Yeah.
that it's,
Well, it's poor management.
yes.
it's poor, right,
It
it's poor
is.
management.
I mean, in our eyes, if somebody comes to us and says, Director blah, 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 didn't give me a step increase, but they said I did something back in November that was never brought to my attention,
So now-
well, then we've got the wrong person in that department.
Right,
Yeah, but-
right.
Because that department head, I mean, and needs to be able to take care of it at that time.
Well, and you need to
and-
note it,
and-
they
and
need to know
document
about it,
That's-
and then they need to be able to work on it and
Yeah,
correct
they
it,
should
and
have had a chance
review it
to fix
again.
it.
Yeah, because that gives them a chance to correct whatever issue there is.
Yeah.
Document it, have them sign, you document it, had a verbal discussion, have them sign that, and then you've got it in writing and stuff. Because if you didn't document it, and it's not signed by the individual, it never happened.
You know, as far as having somebody come in and give pointers or whatever, I wouldn't be against that. I think that might be a good idea. And that way, that would put everyone on the same
Right.
page.
Yeah.
I guess that's correct verbiage.
I would like to be at that because I need to be a better person myself.
Can we review you? Can we
You can review all you want. Just don't dig real deep.
Jesse, a year ago on March 3rd, you,
I said, yeah, I'm gonna go, okay, whatever.
I think your original question was how do the department heads, are we gonna?
yeah, do I need to, is my original question was. So I guess you guys will let us know what the process would be for non-elected department heads.
What if we had your employees evaluate you?
We could do that too. I mean, that wouldn't be,
Each
that
department
might
heads,
not be a bad
That's the
idea.
only true way to probably analyze it.
department heads, employees evaluate.
But then again, will they be honest or are they just scared?
Well, we'll
Well,
read over it, then we
You'll be able
can,
to read through the
the BS.
The BS.
Murky water.
Yeah, murky water.
I mean, that's a very good option too, is to have your employees, and I would love that, that would be great. Yeah, we can.
I know, his wheels are turning.
Well,
So the
it'd be all
danger-
honest.
Well, the danger there though is if you're in a department that's only so big and you have somebody evaluate you and then
Like
it's
IT,
not a positive evaluation, then do you deal with potential
like
retaliation?
IT, Brad's gonna know it was Adam that said that, it was bad.
Well, Well, true, when you have a discussion with Adam.
Right.
Well, really?
But yeah.
Or you hauling both ends and say,
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
Yeah. We got that grown-up talk.
Right. So,
If you bring an employee and then you do like Amber said, you bring some other people from other departments who work with that person, and then you have potentially a commissioner, then you may have a fair cross-section to do an evaluation because each one sees something through a different lens,
right.
and you have maybe a more spirited discussion.
And I think there's some departments that work closer with other departments. I work with every department in some way. I go in and use them for something, but there might be others that work more close together with them.
How often does it happen that someone doesn't get a step increase?
Yearly? I mean, Angie
Do
can
we
speak
have
to
many
that.
that
Do
don't
we
get a
normally,
step increase?
I know that,
I only know of one.
There seems to be one or two each year.
Yeah.
I was just curious what the frequency was.
normally that they don't get us, that there's usually a year where someone doesn't get a step increase, right? I mean,
It could happen, depending on
It's happening.
yeah.
what is going on.
But not too often.
But more times than several years there, everyone gets one, I guess, is what I'm,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just.
Well, and I think with Christina, or not Christina, I take that back, when you guys had the salary study done, the new chart was set up that everyone would get a step no matter what every year.
No matter what their evaluation
That was
is.
her recommendation, I think, at the time.
Okay.
Prior to the new salary chart, it was every other year where steps were.
It was every 2 years, yeah.
Every 2 years, so that was.
And it was based on evaluation.
You had to get your points, or you weren't even considered for the step
Okay,
increase.
that's just one little background on how that works and how it has worked.
But I do know that there are times when there have been people that were denied there for a reason.
That happens.
Okay.
Yep. That is all I have for you guys. Was that 15 minutes? Did you time me?
You put us over our break time.
Oh, shoot.
I think you did anyway. Yep.
Okay.
It's all right.
Any questions, comments, issues? Okay.
I don't think I have anything.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Care of it.
Sorry about this. We'll be together.
I can fly through.
Thanks, guys, have a good
Thank
night.
you.
You.
Well, you wanna take a break until 10 after 10?
And do you want to start the policy discussion?
Then we can start the policy.
That's
discussion.
gonna be my question, how many attendees are there? Department heads coming up for it, or?
I don't know, Ryan did say he wanted to know, but I don't know if any other department heads are coming.
I would assume there might be some, just to.
Do we need to wait until that time then?
Probably then.
Probably gonna be the best thing.
Will you have some,
We're an hour ahead of that time.
will you have some
Round two.
executive session stuff?
Probably one.
We can do it when we get back. We'll fill it in, just try to help.
Yeah, right, make our day, keep that on schedule.
Go on break until 10 till 10, or 10:10? We'll go on break till 10:10.
3 different ones, 2 copies of each one.
Okay.
We're back.
I had to put the policy manual on this. I can't get into my email on this laptop, so.
We're gonna wait till the time for policy manual, right?
I mean,
I know Ryan said he was probably gonna be back.
if there's others who are gonna be here, or they're planning on it, that's probably the best option, because then you'll have to rehash.
Right.
If he shows up at 11 and you've already gone through things and it's done.
Yeah.
Right.
No need to do that.
So if you've got executive sessions,
First thing I wanna, it's sort of like a round table right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
The open custodian position. So that was reprinted in the paper as well as put out online, and then a number of different department heads shared it on their social media page. I only mention that because we've had between 10 and 15 people come in and pick up applications. So we don't have any of them back yet, but that's, I think, a good indication. And the notice says it's open until filled. So once we start receiving applications, then we'll start setting up interviews. But I'm gonna have sort of a cross-section of people a part of that interview panel. So if you have any thoughts or ideas, I have thoughts and ideas myself. We'll go from there.
What's the deadline for them turning in the application?
There isn't.
Okay.
So it's open until filled.
Okay,
So-
okay.
If 10 to 15 people picked up applications, I'd assume those should start filtering in fairly soon.
probably get half of them back, maybe.
Yeah, if there's 5 to 7 that show up, I think that's a good time to start setting up.
Start
interviews.
working on them.
But you only had one during the regular time, didn't you? You have none?
So one of the things about that position that I think people look at and they may shy away from is it's a split shift. So they come in 4 in the morning until 9, and then they come back and finish up the time later. And that's sort of a unique hours, but for the people who have been working those positions, they've been doing that for years. And I've talked to the 2 current custodians about that, and they want to keep it that way for right now. And they have their reasons, which I understand. So it's And it may be ideal for somebody, because during the day you have all the time to do whatever it is you wanna do during the day.
Right. Depends on the person, and whether it's an obstacle or something like it.
And the, part of the mindset is coming in and picking up trash and cleaning the floors and running the buffer and running vacuums and things like that during the day are only gonna be disruptive to potential other offices or kind of business. I mean, if somebody's
Yeah.
vacuuming behind while the commissioner's going, that makes it, you know, you're gonna have to shut the door, ask them to shut the vacuum off. Same thing with the buffer, to deal with probably bathrooms and that kind of thing. But if you're cleaning a bathroom and shut it down during the day when people are going in and out, well, that kind of isn't the best option either. So I think that's why it's split shift.
Yeah. I think it's a good system, I mean.
Sure.
They're not trying to clean it under somebody's desk when they're sitting at the desk, you know.
Right. And at our department head meeting, it was mentioned that things are sort of in flux right now, so department heads have been taking their trash and things and putting it outside of their office to help in the interim time period, which I think has been greatly appreciated. So.
Well, I don't think that's asking too much, you know. You create the trash, you take care of the trash, you know, or put it someplace that can be easily picked up and save somebody else time when you're short manpower.
Yep. And I've indicated to the two that we have, if they have something come up, to let me know, and then I'll get together with everybody and we'll figure something out. They don't need to not feel like they can take time off, especially if they need to for whatever it may be.
Well, we got 2 employees that are split shift,
3.
3.
So the other part of it is they have to go through a background check, and then they have to be approved on the jail side. If they're gonna have any contact with the sheriff's office, the same way with county attorney's office for NCIC reasons, and it's an absolute requirement, so.
Once the new jail's done and everything, will there have to be another person?
The anticipation would be another position would need to be created in the background. The conversation has at least generically been occurring that there's a new person, and then one of the needs is over at Road and Bridge, where they need to have somebody, they're sort of relying on internal help to help clean up Road and Bridge. Same thing with the JSB. Amber's been in touch about, you know, from periodic time to clean the JSB, so maybe create a new position that would cover all of those things and then be able to absorb those things into their schedule. It may be also to have a conversation about a department head for that type of, that position to oversee janitorial maintenance. Sure. If you go to Allen County, where I had experience with, you know, who their individual is who's in charge of building and maintenance, he independently reports to the commissioners, and has done so for long before I ever even showed up in Allen County, and there are no issues that I'm aware of. So, but since the time when I sort of been overseeing janitorial maintenance, and I think it's run smoothly. There's no issues. If there's an issue with the building, it gets brought to my attention. We immediately take whatever corrective action. If it's going to be a certain price threshold, as you see, I brought it in to you, and you guys make the decision. janitorial maintenance, any bills or invoices that they have that come through, they pass through me. I look them up, I initial them. If I have a question, I ask a question. The invoice gets clarified if needed. I've had, for example, Barb, when she goes and picks something up from Chrisman's or across the street or wherever, she'll tape it to a sheet. She'll put exactly what it was for, so it doesn't say, for example, key and lock on the invoice for Christmas, but it'll actually say key and lock below that in writing, key and lock for whatever it may be. And I think that helps explain if somebody wants to make a request, why did the county need that particular expense? There's a place for it to go, and then on each of the vouchers I sign, I put the subcategory of where it goes to, so when it comes to budget time, you can see where the money's going and what it's tied to. So for example, for Charlene, when she orders a bunch of things for either paper towels or chemicals or those kind of things, you'll see that all those tie back to whatever that subcategory is for commodities and subcategory janitorial supplies. Barb, when she goes and puts fuel in a vehicle, it ties to motor vehicle fuel. And hopefully it gives you a better idea of how the money is being spent internally. Anytime water and air comes out, which they come out quite a bit, it'll be subcategory HVAC repair and maintenance. That way it's just not under one category, and then you have to go back like a needle in a haystack trying to figure it out. It's all itemized, it's all there. From my understanding, and Angie can correct me if I'm wrong, a report can be printed either having all of that itemized or specific to that particular subcategory. So I just wanted you to be aware of that's still moving in the background, and hopefully we'll have some idea of what's going to happen in the very near future. I'm going to ask for a 15-minute executive session. It will be under the attorney-client exception. It will be in reference to a county agreement, and it's tied to county agreement / litigation, and it's tied to Mary Bell's.
So moved. Second. Moved by Meeks, seconded by McCurry. 15-minute executive session, the board, county councilor. Executive session, all in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion passes. We will enter at 10:28 for 15 minutes. Must be raining outside, we're getting some people.
So no action is being taken, however, maybe an update in reference to what happened last week. And in summary, last week there was a motion to allow the Lyon County State Bank loan to be paid off by the county, not to exceed $76,700, if I recall right, and then for the chairman to sign a loan agreement. The summary is that loan agreement has been signed by the chairman. It was late last week.
Friday morning.
And I would present that to, for public consumption right now, but I cannot because the other party has yet to sign it, and we were waiting on their executed document. When that occurs, then it will be something that's on file with not only the clerk's office, but it will also be filed with the register of deeds. So in the future, additional action will be taken by the county in reference to that particular property. And like I indicated last week, what's occurring at this point are a series of steps or moves to protect the county's interest in that property that originated and began as an economic development loan project. Is that a fair summary?
You?
Sure.
Okay.
I guess the last part of that, I should probably mention, there will be a request for a special issue check that the county will hold in that the amount due knowing. And once the executed version is submitted to the county, then that will trigger the payment to be sent to Lyon County State Bank.
Be for this Wednesday, special issue for this Wednesday, so.
That would be my hope. So that's it for that. You here for the follow-up from last week?
Yeah, and I've got a few motions, if you guys
We can, yeah, we
got
can.
time to kill. I was gonna do it at the work session, but if you wanna knock a few of them out now.
Sure. Might as well.
I guess I'll start with call-outs from the weekend. We had one landfill. We took in 23 tons of liver to the landfill from a semi-fire. We're up here on 75 highway. I don't know if you guys seen the
I've seen
photos on that, but it was a load of liver, so.
Didn't save any of it?
No.
I wouldn't either.
It already been cooked, right?
It already been cooked, so yeah, I guess that was quite a mess. So,
Wow.
had Wayne Orb dealt with that quite a bit there Saturday, dealing with that, so. A few motions, one I got here, some discussion. The Jacobs Creek sewer lagoons, so we've always mowed those, with our bush hogs out there in the past. Last couple of years, we've talked about maybe, bidding that out to have that done. What we run into is, in the past, we'd have our guy was in the area, he'd jump in there and mow it. That works fine until the state comes in to do their inspections and stuff's not mowed up, because we just kind of do it as it's convenient for us. Would really like to bid that out and just kind of like we do our other mowing stuff, just get that, let that get taken care of, be a lot less hassle for us, and that way it gets mowed up like it should be. Did not include that with those other parcels because basically this is be something that a bush hog would do and not just a regular lawnmower. So, and that's really it on that. If you guys have any questions, like I say, it'd just be a lot more convenience for us if we could go that route with it.
Approximately how many acres is there to mow?
About 5. So basically, this is Jacobs Creek Lagoons, and it's, roughly 5. That's not including, obviously you wouldn't know the ponds, but it's 5 acre area minus the lagoons. Yeah.
how often do you think it would be mowed? I mean, will that be stipulated in, or just as needed?
I'd say it's probably gonna be an as needed, kinda how we do our other mowing, it's hard to tell, I don't really have criteria set on how often it would need mowed.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah,
So they would bid per mowing
Yeah.
for the season?
it would be per mowing, kinda like on the other bids that we do, they give us a price on per mowing.
So it would redetermine when it was needed then?
Yeah, I'd say that's how we do it.
Okay.
Because we inspect them weekly out there, so I think Sydney could just say it's time
Okay.
needs to be
That's
mowed,
what I
and
was
then,
trying to,
yeah.
you know, so there's not any,
So somebody's not in there mowing it once a week,
Right.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we would, yeah, we'd have Sydney say when she needs it mowed and contact whoever would be the successful bidder on that.
I added some words.
Okay.
You can see if you like it.
Motion reads, based on the recommendation of Road and Bridge Superintendent to approve the request to solicit sealed bids for seasonal mowing at Jacobs Creek Lagoons for approximately 5 acres as needed, provided by the Road and Bridge Superintendent.
Approved by.
Approved. Sorry.
I'll move. I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next, is a motion just for, stock culverts. So every spring and fall, we do a larger order for just our stock culverts for the year. And so this will just get that process started. I know I think Adam's been working on a list of what we need to order, but what we do every
Would
year.
it have been beneficial to put that order in with the one for the Blackberry lines? Probably not.
How we're separating those out, and then those are all paid for by Blackberry, that's why we separated it out like that.
Okay, makes sense.
No, a lot of times the more you order, the.
No, that's
times
right,
it's
and
cheaper.
this order here is, I mean, several loads to this
Pretty
order, so,
substantial.
yeah, I mean, typically it's around $70,000 to $100,000 on this order, so.
For some reason, I was thinking we'd already made a motion on our pipes, but maybe we have.
That was just the Blackberry one.
I knew
is
the
all
Blackberry,
we've
that's 2
ordered.
weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion, move to approve Road and Bridge Superintendent request to solicit formal bids and purchase various culvert pipes and end sections for inventory at the county shop. Funds to be paid from the Road and Bridge Fund.
So moved. I'll second that.
Moved by Hughie, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion
All right, thank you. Next is, looking at this piece of equipment. Basically, this is a mini trench roller. I think it weighs about 3,000 pounds. It's vibratory, and we use it a lot, especially if we replace a culvert on asphalt roads, just to go back with the compaction. Years past, we've always rented on an as-needed basis. We've been talking about purchasing one for a few years. I know last year we rented one for a little over 6 weeks. It's about $1,000 a week to rent, plus we have our time going to get it, taking it back. Total cost for this trench roller is $33,000. I know we've been renting one for 10, 15 years as needed. In the next 2 months, we've got 12 locations alone that we're going to be needing this trench roller in, and I think it'd be a good piece of equipment for us to acquire and help save us some time going back and forth to get one all the time. Plus, we'd probably use it more if we actually had one here.
Well, of course, you can roll them on gravel roads too to help.
And we do around the larger culverts, yeah.
I mean, for your estimated time you're gonna need to put all these culverts in for the Blackberry, how many weeks is that?
Well, so on that, I think there's three of the 9 culverts that we would be using the trench roller on. The culvert that we're working on up there by Levo right now, we're actually demoing a roller for that one up there. But, so that's one there, and then we've got, I think, was there 8 or 10 culverts?
Actually,
8 culverts on asphalt roads ahead of our chip seal that we're gonna have to replace. So there's a dozen locations right there in the next 2 months that we
You're looking at $12,000 if it's a week per one, and
Yes.
then you're looking at $12,000 or better.
So is this like an attachment that goes on a track hose?
No, it's a remote controlled, I think it's like 32-inch wide roller, vibratory roller, and yeah, it's a remote control, it's a sheep's foot.
Drives itself in
Yep.
in the trench.
Yep.
So something like that's gonna last a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got like a 30 horse Kohler motor in them. They work very well.
Okay.
I would say we probably bought and paid for one over the last
We
15 years.
probably more than one.
More than
Yeah,
once.
so.
More than once, but yeah, so basically I'm just asking, to waive the purchase of policy here for formal bidding for good cause, because really this is the one we want. We've got, called around, got prices. This is the cheapest one we could get here.
Motion, move based upon recommendation Road and Bridge Superintendent to waive purchasing policy as to formal bidding for good cause, said cause being 3 informal bid quote via phone were received for 1 trench roller and approve the purchase of said item from Logan Contractor Supply, Olathe, Kansas in the amount of $33,969.41. The trench roller, VIN number RTLX-SC3 is a 2024 model, 32 inches wide, and weighs 3,230 pounds. Funds to be paid from general fund, public works equipment line item. I'll move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Hugutin. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next, this will just come up this morning, Angie.
Okay.
Next motion's for a new hire. So this would be for equipment operator, position that we have, and I know last time, we advertised a hire that was open till filled, and so we've, been taking applications for the last 6 months, and, we tried to interview a few here last week, and we wound up with one that we want to offer a job to.
Move to review and approve CP2 payroll notice for Alan Saresic, new hire, heavy equipment operator, highway new hire, wage classification 35-3, with a wage of $21.05, effective 3/1/24.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Hugutin, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion?
Starting him out, fine at 35-03.
3503, so he's got
qualified for.
a CDL, and he's
So
an
he's qualified
equipment
for-
operator, so.
He's qualified to move up a couple.
Yeah, just being consistent with how we've done our last hirings, if they have a CDL, that's one step, and if they're equipment operator, that's another step. So step 3, where we bring them in at.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes.
Thanks, that's the motions I had.
That wasn't long enough. That was. Actually, it's 11 o'clock. Right on time. Right on time, Ron. Give a little bit here, see if anybody shows up. Next on the agenda is policy manual discussion. I'm sure Wade will head this up if we have any other voices to be heard coming in.
updated while we were sitting here, made sure the laptop was updated, and now,
Are you putting the policy manual up there?
yes,
Good.
so,
Right, Dave.
try to. This appears maybe our wireless signal. And this is the email I sent to the commissioners, which I'm gonna put up there. Success.
Success is good.
I think we're moving right along. Feels like I'm setting up my internet at home. Okay, so where I'm gonna start is, you had, mentioned an email I sent, so I just went ahead so people can see. This is the email that I sent yesterday with, the handbook attached to it, and then the wording and why it's important that I put this up here is it has some sample language we'll cover later. But an email basically sort of summarizing where we are, what's happening, what's included, a draft version of the employee handbook that also contains comments, sections to pay close attention to, page 19, time records, page 26, short-term disability, page 34 through 35, discipline policy, 38, tobacco use, page 40, Coffee County vehicles, 41 to 42, emergency closings and inclement weather, and then summarizing last week the motion that was passed on the 19th regarding courthouse closure, and unfortunately Brian was part of that as well.
Your secretary's behind you.
Arms located.
Okay, I'll have to call him back. As much as I hope to talk to him. This is verbatim the motion that's in the minutes. Hugo moved to change courthouse closure procedure and policy. If any employee has any paid time off, PTO scheduled and the courthouse closes for any reason, the employee is charged their pre-designated time. Within the policy, the handbook that you're going to review right now, emergency closings on page 41, inclement weather on page 42, and this is just some language that I cobbled together to at least have for consideration, and then at the very end, probably the most important part of this email, do not respond or reply, will potentially result in zero communication and end up being in violation of the Open Meetings Act. Anything that needs to be discussed will be done, will occur in an open session. So that's the email that went out. That would have been yesterday at 5:08 p.m. to the clerk and to each of the commissioners. And as Tom said earlier, his county email isn't up and running, as probably multiple people are having an issue with that, so it was sent to another email address I had for him. So hopefully everybody got it. I've been getting rejections. So any questions based on that so far? All right.
One quick question, what's the latest revised version we have?
This is from 1 January of 24. So this is a draft that's still not and the draft version. Which version do you have?
August 23.
Okay. Can you see that? Okay. I mean, basically what it'll have, if you want to get closer so you can see the revisions, a lot of the revisions you'll see were based on comments. I'll just go through it. Per a meeting with department heads, this is page 6 of the policy manual. There's a reference and you'll see the comment to the right. Policies and procedures shall apply to all Coffee County employees except elected officials as per reference in court opinions of the Board of Coffee County Commissioners of Lincoln County v. Nylander. And that was something that had occurred at the department head meeting. Reasonable accommodations for pregnant workers policy. This was something that had to be added based on a change in the law that occurred at the back end of 2023 or in the middle of 2022.
Our share's nice.
And tell me if there's anything you see that you want me to stop on. I think a lot of this has been covered multiple times in multiple other meetings. In fact, when Christina was here, it was covered with her.
You know, you go back to that social media deal. I know, and which I don't, I know there's been some posts on social media from individuals.
And you're talking about page 12?
Yeah, individuals, either department head or worker of the county. I don't know if that was actually in violation of that.
So there's sort of this line where people are citizens as well, and if they post something, and potentially depending on when they're doing it, there would be a difference if it's during work hours versus at 6 o'clock at home at their dinner table. But one of the things, and this was mentioned before, especially during election time, if you're gonna, let's say you want to support somebody, you're entitled to do that as a citizen. If you're a county employee, one of the things that is highly recommended to say at the very bottom of whatever post would be to say, I'm acting as a person, this is my personal decision, not as a county employee or something to that effect. And I can go back and find that, but I mean, you bring up a good point, but citizens are able to make comments, but when you're a county employee, it just sort of makes it, you have to make sure that line is not blurred. This is basically the summary.
Okay.
So what you're talking about is right here, and it's on page 13. If an employee chooses to identify himself or herself as a county employee on a social media site, website, or weblog, the county employee must adhere to the following guidelines. Coffee County protects its confidential information. I don't want to read it verbatim, but Express only personal opinions, never represent oneself as a spokesperson for Coffee County. If Coffee County is a subject of the content an employee is creating, be clear and open about the fact the employee is an employee and make it clear the employee's views do not represent those of Coffee County, fellow employees, citizens, visitors, or people working on behalf of Coffee County. When publishing a blog or post online related to the work performed for Coffee County or subjects associated with Coffee County, must be made clear the employee is not speaking on behalf of Coffee County. It's best to include a disclaimer such as, the postings on this site are my own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Coffee County. Does that cover? Any other comments about social media?
Yeah, they need to do away with it all completely.
I agree.
Social media?
Yes. It's ruining us as a society.
Society.
What, is this New York? Somewhere's suing social media because it's causing depression and I don't know what else.
Oh, yeah.
Teenage kids,
Yeah.
like, so just quit doing it.
Bullying and everything else.
Dress code, county property, political activity, which is important, especially this year.
Like longevity pay is highlighted again.
What page are you on?
Well, I just been going down and I stop on the pages where something's highlighted.
18.
Okay.
So
Well-
18, sorry, I probably got ahead of you.
Yeah, you're ahead. I think this is, maybe something to bring up right now, since it was brought up last week. Probationary period. Probationary period for all new and rehired employees is the first 180 calendar days following their hire or rehire date. During the probationary period, Coffee County will evaluate the employee's work habits and abilities to make sure they can perform their job satisfactorily. Probationary period also provides employees time to decide if the job meets their expectations. Last week, Ryan brought this up, and I think it was a good discussion, and maybe there might need to be something either added or modified here related to during the probationary period, new and rehired employees are not eligible to use accumulated vacation time.
Until they're out of the probation period.
Right? And unless for an emergency situation, right? Do you think there's?
But are we gonna have to go through and write down every emergency possible
Well,
situation?
I saw some.
It should be department head responsibility to.
I'd like to see if Susie, had a funeral
In a
or,
way, we haven't allowed the vacation to be used the first 6 months, they can use sick leave. Or there's been rare occasions that maybe we give an employee leave without pay because they weren't able to use their vacation time. So I don't know that would need to change of how we've done that.
I think to leave without pay, if they haven't hit their 180 days or whatever it is.
But that should be up to the department head. I mean, that's gotta be your call.
Yeah, if there's
I mean-
like I said, there could be a circumstance that comes
Yeah.
up that's,
Or if it's a borderline funeral, a cousin of a brother, sister,
Yeah, there's gotta be some give.
5 times
There's gotta
down.
be some give and take there.
and they still wanna go to it, well, you can go to it, but it's gonna be without pay. I mean,
I don't know if that's covered.
What's that?
I don't know how it states in the policy about funeral leave during probationary period.
Oh, bereavement.
immediate family, which would be
Grant, what you're saying, it's, you don't know if it's addressed for payment or not, is that what
Yes.
you're getting at?
Yes.
I'm not sure that it's, I don't think it's, we would have to go down to.
Whether it's treated like vacation or whether it's treated like sick. Like, they can use sick leave, but they can't use vacation. And I don't know where funeral leave falls in there on that.
That would be probably further into the book here, I would say.
I don't think it has been addressed as far as that first 6 months. That's what you're getting at, that 6 months probation. I'm not sure that it's ever been addressed in there, that I remember seeing.
So, just going off the,
That's good to me.
new and rehired employees who are within the first 180 calendar days following their hire or rehire date and within the probationary period cannot use accrued vacation time during that time. Or something to that effect.
Seems pretty adequate.
Days, here we go, longevity pay, I don't remember what that change was now.
Well, I started longevity, 3 years. 3, 4, and 5 are the same.
So it went back, yeah. I think there were some other nuances that had to be changed as well, and then added the part-time longevity pay, which wasn't included originally. Pay deductions, administrative pay, time records. So this is on page 19, and this is sort of, if you look at the comments to the right, it talks about time clocks. It's in reference to time clock splits. That policy needs to make sure it meets what you want it to, and then the comment on the bottom right, preferred schedule if a person misses clocking in and clocking out.
What is a preferred schedule if a person misses clocking in or out? What does it mean, preferred schedule? I don't understand. Or what is the fix of that? Is that what they're saying?
Probably.
So your supervisor has to go in and physically make the changes.
I mean, right now, that's what, it's inevitable, people are gonna forget to clock in, clock out, maybe both. And I know you guys probably deal with it more than anybody, so what is it what's your process or procedure? At the end of the day, you go in and you check and see who's clocked in, who's clocked out.
I check every morning. After our forums meeting, I know who's gone, who's there, and I will go through each morning and make sure the people that are there are clocked in. If they're not, I call them directly and find out what's going on. We've had some issues where people weren't able to clock in or forgot to clock out the night before or whatever it might be.
So this seems to be some pretty extreme language right here, especially early on. Employees are allowed 3 missing punches per 6-month period. On the 3rd occurrence, progressive discipline procedures will be followed.
Seems a little extreme.
All I can say is if they want paid, they better figure out they better clock in and clock out. That's the way I look at it. I don't know if there needs to be extreme measures. That's kind of an extreme
That's
measure.
tough, because
I
Especially as
until we
we're,
get
as we're
the bugs
getting onto
worked
a
out
new
of this.
system also, I mean, so there's a transition there to getting into the routine of doing it.
Right.
That would be a little,
I agree.
Yeah, I didn't like that at that part.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've had our transition.
There's gonna be mess ups and it just, I mean, stuff happens.
The system goes down, I mean,
You know, we've had our transition time, we've had our work time, we've had our, you know, time to work with it, play with it, and try to go towards the main goal of going live with it. And some departments have worked very, very well with it, and some departments have chosen not to do anything.
You said you give a probationary period of, say, 6 months from the time it's actually implemented, or, I mean, it's implemented now, it's up and running good.
It's implemented now, isn't it, Ann?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
6 months?
I can give you a little update on it. I have information if you want, but I don't know if now's the time.
I was just saying, I mean, some sort of grace period to give everybody a chance to get acquainted, or used to clocking in, clocking out, because you haven't been, so. Need some sort of, instead of just
Bam.
3 strikes, you're out kind of deal there all at once, when you've just implemented something new, so that sort of.
well, we're still a work in progress on our end.
Right, so I mean, after 6 months.
We're working daily with Angie and Terry, getting stuff hashed out, just for what we need. And I'm sure Angie will agree that it's not a quick and easy process, getting all of our stuff figured out, but day by day, we're getting there.
I do want to thank you guys though, because you guys have been, for a large department, you guys have been awesome to work with. I know it's been frustrating, I know it's been, want to pull your hair out, just like for us, dealing with all 155 employees, but for that big of a department, and then your time transferred in perfectly, and so I just appreciate your help, because with that is what'll make us get going. Digging your feet in with us and not working with us, we'll never get anywhere. So I just want to give you a huge thank you, because it's very much appreciated.
How close, Adam and Ryan, are you getting to the point to where it'll actually work for you and not have any issues or very many issues?
I can't tell you how close we are. All I can tell you is we're making progress, right direction. But as far as everything being the perfect world, who knows? I mean,
Well, you got 4 or 5 instances that have to be straightened out every day.
not.
I would think
It
it would
varies.
I would think it'd happen pretty quick, even though you got a group of 52 employees. I think you'd be getting there.
Ryan, for a conversation we had a few days back, do I recall that part of the situation you were having, or one of the situations, was that, like, if you work through your noon hour, that you were having trouble getting the program set up
well,
where
that's
that
so like now.
would work.
Yeah, certain circumstances, we'll have guys working through lunch, so we had like our blade guys and our rock haulers, as we were getting back on top of the road, we were allowing them to work through lunch, just to try to help get a little more accomplished. You know, Adam, he goes through the following day or the day after, and he has to manually go in and change. You know, so there's things that we're still working through to get implemented and put in place in the system, you know, so that's some of the stuff that we're working through right now. So that's, you know, when you say how long before everything's functioning like we need it to be, it's hard to say that. You know, I know that we've made a lot of headway the last few weeks on implementing some stuff, but there's still some things in there that, you know, we need to figure out how to manage, and employees need to be able to control some of that themselves and control that time. We should just be approving it. We shouldn't have to
Manually do that all the time.
Correct.
It's taking a lot of you guys' time.
Correct.
But you've cut your time down a lot from the start down to now, right? I mean, I think
It
Yes.
is improving.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, until we get all the bugs worked out, you know, you could have 6 or 8 guys or 12 guys that work through lunch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's considered straight time until they reach their 40 hours.
Sure.
So That's where it gets tricky, is after they reach their 40 hours, as of not yet, it's not calculating it to
Correctly.
become overtime or time and a half.
But that's something,
It's
that-
something we're working through, yes. So there's a lot that goes into it.
I don't know if you want me to update you or not yet, or wait till roundtable, or,
Well, I mean, it's all discussion that pins back to this mark in page 19. I mean, I feel that it would be valuable discussion,
Yeah, me too.
what Angie has for updates
I do
to
too.
put towards this. I mean, I feel.
so,
Because Angie's having to work with
all departments,
Everybody,
yeah.
everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, so, I know I updated you here, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but when I found out that the old time hadn't been taken out and the comp time hadn't been even put in or fixed or whatever, so that's when I got with CIC and we started working really hard every single day, every day, to try to make changes for people, and, I was able to identify that there wasn't some things that in there that should have been. So anyway, as Adam and Ryan said, we have made some huge strides here in the past few weeks. We did have a few departments that didn't, use the time clock system, but we told them to run paper with it because we knew if something doesn't match up or isn't working, we'll just go off the paper timesheet. So we have imported time into CIC. Like I said, Road and Bridge had no issues. Theirs was all perfect, which was amazing for that big of a department. A lot of other departments were fine too, smaller departments. And then the other departments that didn't do it or it wasn't right, we still have some issues with the sheriff's office on their 28-day pay cycle. And then the comp time is still an issue. But I think this next month we probably will really make some big changes and might get closer.
Another couple of months should make a,
I would think within this month.
and I know it's frustrating.
It is, but anytime you do a new integration or implementation, it's never perfect right off the bat. You have to, and then also I found out some more information on Lyon County, and I was hoping I could speak with our CIC rep today because I wanted to fill you in, which I'll give you what I have. In Lyon County, they're paid every 2 weeks, like I told you, we're paid monthly. The only departments that use the Time Clock Plus system is Emergency Management, Sheriff, and Road and Bridge. I don't know what the rest of the county does, I don't have that information yet. They went out on their own and signed up with Time Clock Plus, where we all went through CIC as like the broker or whatever between Time Clock Plus and CIC. So that's where, excuse me, when we had our department head meeting, I think some of us were off from each other because some of the departments that went over there and looked at the system, they're seeing how it's operating one way, but that I'm trying to explain from our side how it needs to work because in order for it to go, excuse me, into CIC, it's got to match the code.
Oh, so they're working directly with Time Clock Plus, is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's how they're able to speak with a tech person
Directly.
And so you're working through,
We're through CIC, that's the contract we signed, because I didn't know, and the committee that we had didn't know, we could go directly through Time Clock Plus. But that's kind of a moot point, because since we're dealing with CIC as our payroll system, they are too, but something's different. And that's where I don't know what to tell you on that yet until I get more information from our CIC rep. But I do know that whatever we're putting into Time Clock Plus, it has to go into CIC first. Because there's codes that are generated, like a new employee, let's say, then those have to go into Time Clock Plus. We export into Time Clock Plus, and then we set up that employee. There were some concerns about each department wanting to set up their own new employees on their own and not have to work with us. like us micromanaging, which I don't want to micromanage, but I don't want our payroll system messed up either. If you set up things in Time Clock Plus and we don't have it set up in CIC, people aren't going to get paid. That's how it is here right now. Now, if we are able to somehow modify it to be just like Lyon County, there's got to be some big changes with our payroll program, payroll software, because, like I said, ours is must be set up some way different. And I can't tell you how it is in Lyon County exactly yet because I haven't gotten that information, but we would have to overhaul something.
Of our stuff here.
Of our stuff here, yeah.
Not the issue being that we're not directly talking.
Right, yeah, that's really not a big deal that we're not directly with Time Clock Plus. I mean, we've been dealing with the reps with CIC and everything's been going fine. I mean, we're getting, but they have job codes, like for many things, kind of like Road and Bridge, you guys use STAR right now. And STAR tracks their projects. You could explain that better, Ryan. And like if someone hauls rock for so many hours, then they can charge that job code or whatever. The Sheriff's Department, if they work a particular case, they can track the hours. And it can do that. The Time Clock system can do that. But the way we're set up right now, those codes would have to go into our program, or we have to overhaul our payroll program to where it just dumps in time, like they were told, regular time for this many hours. We would have to make some changes somewhere. So, but main thing for me right now is I want to make sure that people are getting paid correctly right now. That's my main goal. And then we can specialize it, however, moving forward, but getting the comp time and all those things, but just the regular basic time, I feel like is critical to get working if we want the system to work. And then, like I said, we can specialize it, however.
How long's our contract with CIC?
A year, I think.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and look, but I think it's a year.
Okay.
But I'm trying to do everything we can for everybody to make it work and.
Right, but am I understanding you correctly that the way our system, the county system is, even if we work with Time Clock Plus,
We still have to make.
That still wouldn't solve
No.
all our issues at this point.
We would have to modify our CIC payroll system somehow, even if we were just straight through Time Clock Plus.
Okay.
And that, I don't know that answer for you.
That doesn't sound like an easy answer.
I was hoping I would have an answer for you, but.
Yeah, I understand.
Maybe by Wednesday I will, and I can update you some more on that,
So, Wade has stricken
So a couple of things. What that red that's been stricken that we discussed already is, I think this covers it right here. Misuse, abuse, or lack of use of the proper procedures for clocking in and out may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. But what's in the red, I don't think,
We would leave that up to the supervisors basically to deal with the problem.
So. And I'll use the county attorney's office as an example. I turned in paper timesheets last week. I don't have 3, 4, or 5 hours to sit and go back through. I didn't. I finished. Wednesday I was in court until almost 6 o'clock. I went to the zoning meeting at 7, that ended at 10. I don't have the time to sit and mess with that. And if that's going to be an issue, then I'm going to have to figure something out. And I go in, I've messed with it, and I've tried to. I've been working on Time Clocks Plus, but I'm not going to affect my other duties and responsibilities to deal with the punching in time in a program. So that's something that will have to be figured out. I'm working on it, but I had to turn in paper timesheets, and the clerk's office was very receptive to that, and you entered the times in for me. So it wasn't an issue, but I'm here on the weekends, I'm here until almost 7 o'clock every night, and I'm not, and I think it's, an ineffective use of time for me to sit and spend 3, 4, 5 hours on time clocks plus. Now, it may get better once everything's worked out, but I'm only mentioning that because some of the language here, I mean, I've got people missing punches. So, for instance, one of the employees who was with me until almost 6 o'clock in court, they were late for another commitment, they didn't clock out, they took off, and they didn't have a proper clock out, and it happens. So, I'm only mentioning that. I don't know how much time you guys spend on it, but how much time do both of you spend on it? Just keeping it up and operational right now.
Probably 15 to 20 minutes a day. And that gets to be a little bit more, especially when payroll's coming up, cut off. That magical couple of days we get there between the cutoff and when we have to have everything turned in is significantly more.
We spend that one day, I think him and I spent probably at least 8 hours over here till after 7 that one night. Just dealing with that, just finishing up, so we'd run a report, making sure everything was in like it was supposed to be, and making changes, and so everything matches what our paper is.
Was that
over 12 hours or something.
Was that because you hadn't done it daily, or had you changed something? No, it's just, I mean, because if you're looking at it every 15 minutes every day, you're catching what's wrong with them days.
So when you go to run payroll, and say you have, on Monday, somebody had a timesheet in for 8 hours of sick leave, and then they come in and say they worked a half hour over on one of those days for some reason, well, then we have to go back and manually change that sick time back so to match the 40 hours for the week, instead we take a half hour off of that. So that's a lot of time just to double checking on having to go back for that. The work through lunches to make sure that all those are put in the system right, because you know we're comparing the numbers off of Time Clock Plus to the numbers off our payroll and how we normally run our payroll. And if there's a discrepancy, then we have to figure out why is there a discrepancy. And so you start looking, and when you deal with 50 employees and 30 days a month, and so there's a lot of areas that there could be some errors. There always is. We always do double and triple check before we submit payroll. Sometimes stuff still gets through the cracks, on our end, but yeah, I mean, our hopes, I know this is a work in progress. It's going to get better. I don't want him to have to spend 2 hours of his time every week, having to correct stuff that the employees should be able to correct some of this stuff themselves. I mean, that's the end goal. That's where we're going with it. So I don't, it's a work in progress.
I'm just saying there should be, right now, some flexibility so that this is not, I mean, I think you guys are gonna continue to run on paper versus electronic. I think that.
We have to run paper forever because that's how we keep track of our costs. So this is just, the Time Clock Plus is something extra we have to do no matter what for my department. We have to track our stuff on paper forever. That'll never change for us.
So, listening to what Angie said about, we're basically, with Time Clocks Plus, we're it's kind of like a third party through CIC, and to change that would have to be a major overhaul, would it? And I don't know enough about any of this stuff to make any much of a statement, any direction other than people that know that much about it. Would it be worth the overhaul and cut ties with CIC? I mean, if that's possible, I don't know. And just say, okay, you got the contract, everybody else is out. Does that simplify things?
I don't know, but I think part of the frustration, Tom, is that they're not able to talk to a tech person in person, because if I understand it right, the only one that they'll talk to is Angie, isn't that correct? I mean,
That I don't know.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I think that that's the way it's working right now. They won't, in other words, if Adam needs to talk to a tech person, he's not able to talk to, he's got to go through Angie, which is fine. Angie's doing everything that she can to do, but I think that's part of the frustration, is that the department heads aren't able to talk. If each department has got a specific problem, and they can't go directly to a tech person in Time Clock Plus to figure it out. I think that's the gist that I'm getting from the meetings.
So is our only involvement with CIC with this time clock system, or this
That
company
would be
doesn't have
an
anything to
Angie
do with
question.
it?
I don't do much
And
with
again,
it.
when I say that, Angie's doing everything that she can
I mean,
to
CIC is our payroll.
That's what I wondered.
They are.
So that's how they got involved in this to begin with.
And they sold the Time Clock Plus to us instead of going directly to Time Clock.
That's what I kind of caught the drift of from Angie before, so can we eliminate them from the situation without overhauling our whole system?
I don't think we can until the contract is up.
But possibly we could keep them for our payroll and go directly with the time clock company.
Possibly, yes. I know when we bought our software system, there was only 2 people that could call into the help desk. They charged, if you was Billy or Susie with Coffee County or with Night Trucking, they would not even talk to you. There was 2 people that was okay to go through the help desk,
I see.
and that is it, because that's during build period time. I called one day and they wouldn't even let me in, and I said, my last name is,
Okay.
and I said, you are gonna get me help, because I am the only one that can take care of it at the time. But that way they don't have 500 people calling them saying, we need this, we need this, we need this. A lot of it is because the way I understand it is the job codes and so on and so forth needs to get set up in CIC, because if you got Adam sending something over for job code BFT, and then we don't have BFT sent in, BFT code for 180 hours is not going to get paid, because it's not in CIC. I mean,
Right, but I have some updated information. I just got off the
Okay.
phone with our rep. You're correct that there's some differences. Okay, so here's the lowdown. I have it all. So payroll and HR does not work with the Time Clock Plus. Everyone else is on paper timesheets in the courthouse. Sheriff?
Say that again, Angie.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so the payroll and HR department in Lyon County
Okay.
does not do anything in Time Clock Plus like we are doing. Everybody, all hourly in the courthouse that are H5s or whatever, are just on paper timesheets. The sheriff's office, the road and bridge department, and emergency management went out on their own, and they each bought Time Clock Plus. Where we're different, we're doing the whole county here. Okay, so, yes, they are able to set up their own employees, but they still have to contact payroll department to get the job codes or any sick vacation codes and all that kind of stuff. So that is still something they would have to do. Now, they can set up more specialized codes, let's say like truck driving for however long, and there's a place they can go into under, what did she say it was, Business Works module, and they would put in like regular time as code 99, and they would put it in under that, and then that 99 would transfer into CIC. So I understand that now, how they could do that. They do all of their exporting, and they do send it to payroll on their own. They are not like us right now.
Each department bought their own time clock.
Yes, sheriff, emergency management, and road and bridge all went out on their own and bought directly with Time Clock Plus, or paid an annual fee or whatever. And then that's when I asked her, what do the other departments do? And she said they use manual timesheets. She said we could do this. So what we're paying for CIC right now is a flat rate, so it's not based on the number of employees. So those 3 departments could go off on their own, contact Time Clock Plus, buy it, whatever, pay the annual fee. They can set up and do all the things they're wanting to do. The problem that they will run into is they will not import accruals into their time clock plus. So when we're pulling time clock in, or, you know, they're exporting to us, they will not be able to import, so they'll have to go in and rekey everybody's vacation, sick, and all their accruals that they would get, which they can do that. And there were comments that we didn't have the newest version at our last department head meeting, and that was probably when we were on the training module, because we do have the newest version right now. So all of it makes more sense to me now, but I knew there had to be something different, because something wasn't matching up with what.
Hearsay was.
Yeah. So, if you guys want to make those changes, we can do that.
Well,
Those 3 departments that went out on their own, did she tell you what type of cost they have?
I didn't. I didn't ask for that.
I don't think, what's highlighted right now, I think that should be stricken as well. If you make an error on your time record, please complete the required missed punch form. This form must be signed by your supervisor and sent to the county clerk's office. If the form is not received before payroll is completed, the hours will be added to the next payroll. I think until things get ironed out, I mean, I don't know if even ever, I think that's a department head issue.
I do too.
I agree.
That's right, too.
So, when you said Lyon County, certain departments went out and bought their own payroll system, is it still linked to the clerk? Does the clerk
Yes.
still issue the check?
Yes, they'll still be issued through payroll, but they would each, unless Road and Bridge wanted to go together with the sheriff's office, but there'd be tons of different job codes, so that's, I think, why they went off on their own and bought their own.
So I'm guessing Lyon County doesn't use CIC as their payroll?
Yes,
they
CIC
use?
is their, yeah. So that's what I was saying. In our system, regular pay is code number 99. So if they want to go out and set up 20 different codes and they name it truck driving, asphalt project, whatever, I don't know what else, bridge.
Yeah, so we would have the option to do that, but I think, so one for us would be like your 99 regular pay for a normal day. If we had a couple that was a work through lunch and a non-work through lunch, and that way the employee could say, I worked through lunch today, and it would automatically figure that extra 30 minutes instead of having to manually go in to a different page somewhere else to check a box to show that you worked through lunch.
Right.
I mean, would be,
We can do that, easy.
yeah.
But I thought you wanted also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you wanted those different, like, if they worked on a bridge for so long or whatever.
Not in time clock plus, we have,
Okay.
we have STAR.
Okay,
And that's what we track on our paper. We don't need to track that on this. I mean, that's what we
Sure.
track on our paper.
so that's easy, we can do that.
Oh, and that just tracks your cost per job or
Per mile, per
Per mile,
project,
what
yes.
is-
Project,
okay.
per
Yes.
Right.
week, day, whatever.
So why couldn't you set up pay number 100, job code 100, for the ones that are gonna work through their lunch? At 11 o'clock, they click into job 100, and at 12 o'clock, they click out? No?
Well, that works if everybody's got
Everybody's
access
shop.
to it. So everybody logs in and out at our shop. We just have a station with an iPad there, and they come in, they clock in and out.
Oh, they're not running it on their phones?
No, I mean, some are, but not everybody. We got people with flip phones. So, I mean, we got employees that still have flip phones, so we just set up some iPads there. We have a couple of them in the office, and people clock in the morning, they clock out at night.
Well, maybe you're making some headway then.
Yeah, I mean,
Understanding how you can do it easier, code.
But, if like the sheriff's office, everybody had their phones, that they went on a drug deal from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, they could clock in, clock out using that job code, then go back to regular time after 2 o'clock.
but
Because you'd have to have that job code. I'm just running things through my mind of what could happen.
yeah, so.
But you have to take interaction with the employee and their phone.
I can tell you, as you're getting ready to execute a search warrant at 2:00 in the
You're not
morning,
gonna be worried about that.
you're worrying about your safety and.
But also on the other side there, the dispatch is logging everything too. They know Billy got in there arrived at X time, they know Billy got out at X time. I mean, if it's that important to log stuff like that, then it's logging through the dispatch office. I don't think it needs to log through this. That's what I'm saying.
That's right, but for them to get paid, it has to be, that's the issue.
But that's when you go in. I mean, that stuff doesn't happen every day, all day long. It's a couple times a week. It can be put in. It can be added. In my eyes.
So we get it where the employees could make the changes,
Of course, that would be.
that would be, however.
Yeah, and we can do that too, and I'm surprised
That's what
that,
we need to do.
we did a global modification for that, did that not help some people?
We haven't got to that point yet.
Okay,
We haven't. Ideally, we want every employee to have access to control their own. We're going to start with the foremans, crew supervisors, and then we've got to trickle it down,
sure.
slowly.
Yeah, I just need to know what the, and we can,
Methodically.
And they need to understand it first before you have people under.
Yeah, and it's not, it's gonna take time, but I don't want it to be wasting our valuable time messing with it, so to speak.
yeah.
And hashing out all these details with everybody when weather's good and we're trying to get it right now, so.
Okay, next.
I agree with Wade, he wants to strike that.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
We agree with you on
I
that,
agree with
Wade.
that.
The missed punch?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, take that out.
Okay. So I took out missed punch and I took out employees are allowed 3 missing punches per
Right,
session.
there you go. Let the supervisors deal with that if it gets to be excessive.
Comp time, overtime comp time policy, this was chewed up, spit out multiple times, so there's any hours worked in excess of 40 hours by a non-exempt employee must have prior approval of the employee supervisor. Comp time shall be taken within 6 months from the date of accrual. Highway Department and Sheriff Department are exempt from this provision. A maximum of 80 hours of comp time may be accrued before the employee will be required to exhaust the leave. Once an employee has accrued the maximum number of accrued comp time hours, any additional overtime hours will be paid through overtime payments rather than comp time. The Highway Department and Sheriff's Department are exempt from this provision, as they may accrue more than 40 hours of comp time due to their working schedules. And this was with the feedback and input of both, so you guys are still.
Yeah. So we removed the one line, but accrued comp time must be taken before any other form of accrued leave. Right? I know we talked about sick leave, we weren't gonna require comp time to be used in place of sick leave.
This right here.
Yeah.
Accrued comp time must be used before any other form of accrued leave.
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna take out sick leave from that, we agreed that comp time should be used in front of vacation and, but sick leave, I think, the last discussion we had, we thought that somebody could still use a sick day and not a comp day.
Should the health department be involved included in that,
Provision.
exemption?
Exemption.
Because I think, wasn't she having trouble with, she was her
Yeah, they
comp
accrue
time
comp
hours,
time.
do wise,
They accrue comp time
and quite a bit
through flu clinics.
through the flu. I'm just asking, should should the health department be included in the exemption part? I mean, she's not here, I know.
There was some discussion
But there
had
was,
on that.
because that was part of the reason for the change. And I'm just wondering if they shouldn't be included in that. In the exemption part.
I do recall that conversation, and that makes sense to add the health department as well.
Because if I understand it right, they could accrue a lot of hours during, flu season, I can't think of all the deals, but.
I think they'll blow the time out of the water in certain situations.
Right.
And then they'll be well in excess of what
What
the limit is.
And that way, that wouldn't hold them back, I mean, that wouldn't, I mean, unless she has something, I think they should be included for what that's worth. That's just my opinion.
I know health department will have comp time.
And if I remember, and that's what I was alluding to, because Amelia said that they could go, 40 hours wasn't anything. I mean, they'd go up to 80 hours or whatever, and I'm just
I mean, all departments will, but she potentially could if we have another COVID thing.
Right.
She had mentioned though during our department head meeting, just doing the regular, nighttime clinics across the county, that her employees will blow these numbers out of the water.
Yeah.
Depending on the time of the year. And isn't that what you recall?
Yes.
Well, just put in parentheses around there, possibly, health department as well, and we can discuss that
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just think it needs to be open for discussion on that. I mean, that's.
I'm presuming we'll have one more department head meeting after today with the most updated book for us to go through, and that way if there's a few outliers, such as this, that we can discuss.
I mean, this, an emergency management, I mean, they hold like seminars and stuff to where they get some comp time too.
Training.
Yeah, so I mean,
Radio installed right now.
I guess I'm wondering.
Might as well send it to everybody.
Oh, right, that's what I'm saying, why are we calling out certain departments, why don't you just say countywide thing? That would remedy, that way.
Remedy any further.
Correct.
That we're not thinking of right now,
Yeah, because I went, like I say, again, emergency management, that where they hold nighttime training classes, they have, storm spotter stuff, they have this, that, so I'm assuming they acquire some comp time as well. Because we've brought in the health department, which we know they do. So there may be instances where other ones do too, we just don't know it, so.
Well, I mean, your weed department, your trash, I know the trash pickup on Saturday, in Lebo or whatever, I'm sure they're got some employees that are doing it as well. I don't know. I don't know how they take care of it. I don't know if they're just paying them overtime on that or if they're.
Speaking of which, how's the landfill? I mean, because they're open first and third Saturdays, so some guys get comp time or what do they get, overtime?
Yeah, I mean, either or, they have choice.
Okay. I never knew exactly how that works.
You're putting enough employees into that comp time now. With 4 departments or 5 departments, you're up to 75% of your employees. It's like you just don't put them all out.
That's what I mean, that's what I'm just.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we need to just put all of our employees in them, because you're almost 3/4 automatically in it.
Well, Wade's gonna have people, in court with him, and if he doesn't monitor their hours through the week, they're gonna be overtime or comp time too. I see election times, Angie,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on.
So maybe we do it for all.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So I guess the 40 hours is the cap, but that can be approved by an employee supervisor, so that leaves it to the department head. But where I guess it really makes a difference is when it's used, because you can cripple the operations of the county if you have everybody saving up and then using it all at one time. Now, there is a statement here, use of accrued comp time cannot be denied to an employee unless the time off will unduly disrupt county operations. So there is an issue, or a provision there, but then you have the maximum of 80 hours, and I think the maximum ends up being maybe an issue, because you guys will, during a snowstorm, you guys would get over 80 hours pretty quick, wouldn't you?
Through a season sometimes we will, yes.
Right, so what other departments would end up going over 80? I know,
You're talking a pay period or in a year?
well, if you have to use it within 6 months, and you can only carry a maximum of 80 hours, then how many departments will exceed that? And that I don't know. I know sheriff and road and bridge stand out.
But cross that bridge when we get to it.
So it's just and maybe the health department, you know, we have another flood, emergency management, I don't know.
I said it would be an ongoing issue, then we'd have to do an amendment to this part of it, I guess.
So that I...
Unless Ryan or Adam's seen something that, I mean, because between you and the sheriff's department, you guys would be fall into that category more than anybody, so.
Biggest users.
I think, I know we had discussions about the time period to use that up, so our guys are accumulating comp time basically from the end of last year up until the snow season's over, for the most part. It's better for us to not have a time restraint on that, to have that used up, because if you say 6 months, then that means sometime the next 6 months when it's our best weather, I'd rather have them using it at the end of the year when things are slower and we're not as busy. So, I mean, I know...
August, September,
Well, life's a heck of
October,
a lot more
October.
fun though when you're.
We won't deny them taking off in the summer, but I don't want to force them to use that time.
Right,
So,
I understand.
yeah.
So should that be a year, in a year then? I mean, you can't carry comp time over, right? I mean, that's the way it's set up.
You can't use it as a savings account.
Right. But what would be wrong with just going, it's got to be used up in?
Well, they're exempted.
Oh, yeah, that's
from
right.
it. They're exempted from it being used in 6 months.
Well, there you go, it is in there.
It is,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, then that cures that.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
You're right.
basically
I forgot the
exempted all
executive.
departments.
Oh,
Is this what you want? Accrued comp time must be used before any other form of accrued leave except sick time. That's what you were...
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
that
agree,
does.
I agree,
Okay.
I agree.
I don't want somebody to have to use their comp time if they're sick.
Yeah.
Right.
It's time that they earn to
right.
take off and go golfing or something.
Right.
Well, that's not how it reads.
Is it golfing in there?
Accrued comp time must be used before any other form of accrued leave, except sick time, okay.
I just added that.
Gotcha. Carry on.
Should we kick this one hard enough?
Yeah.
That poor horse is all I can say, that poor horse.
That's all right.
So in the purchasing policy, this was, part of what was added or requested to be added by Ryan, and,
I wanna hold on that. That's gonna be a lot of discussion, but I think it needs to be department heads, period. And we need to set a deal before anybody puts forth the okays to spend $20,000 or more. I think it needs to come in front of the board. And it be okay.
so one of the areas too is, entering into any type of contract that binds the county. So,
Yeah, that needs to come here.
I think there's some rework we can do to this.
that ties into, if you enter into a contract and then there's problems, then the county gets sued.
But if we're already entered, let's just throw this out. If we have entered into Exmark company for surveying, we've got a continuous agreement with them that if Billy or Susie or Frankie can call them up and say, hey, I need you to do this. There needs to be a bid, there needs to be a price quote given if it's estimated over this amount of money.
Mhm.
And it needs to be brought to us, and we need to be the ones to okay it.
Like I
To
got a
continue
project
forward.
going on that's gonna require them, I gotta call them, it's gonna, estimated cost is gonna exceed $10,000.
Yeah,
We need to know that about it
before we get the bill for however much it winds up being.
Well, since Ryan's here, you have the on-call engineer with, CFS, and if something happens there, I mean, I don't know what your procedure is, and I don't mean to call you out.
No, that's okay. So I guess, Jesse, your question, are you talking like what's identified in that paragraph below that chart? I mean, because what you're asking for is basically set in place, in the 20,000 above or even 10,000 above, but, you know, there are exceptions to it, such as like some oil parts, some culverts, some stuff like that. I mean,
I'm not,
I think I can help with that.
okay,
Understanding. So like we have, your surveying goes through, sorry.
Geotech.
Yeah. I don't know why I always lose that name, but I do. So I mean, if you got a large project that's gonna take you well into, you know, it's gonna take a lot of his time. What Jesse's saying is, let's get somewhat of a quote to say for this project, it's gonna be $10,900 or whatever. And bring that to us as opposed to, well, he's our on-call surveyor, so here's the bill.
Oh, I got nothing. Yeah, I've already been there. Yeah.
gosh dang it, to a point, yes.
I mean, yeah, I understand that. I mean, the surveying's not a very good example because we would never have something like that.
Well, true, but that's the best one I could come up
Yeah.
with.
We've had a lot of surveying, a lot of this and a lot of that, and it's gotten out of control. Out of our control, I'm gonna say that.
So, there is a county resolution that requires either the approval of the board, the county attorney, or both to enter into agreements with certain types of entities, engineers. So when Ryan comes in with Saban and says they need to do an on-call, here's what the payment schedule is, you're put on notice, you have that agreement, you make the motion to have CFS as the on-call engineer for the county. Certain other agreements are similar in nature, and that's what the county resolution says. So the types of situations you're referring to don't occur. Nobody has the legal authority to bind the county without the permission of what the county or the board says. And that's another discussion for another day. But I think those parameters can be added within this. I don't see that those are necessarily in there, but they need to be added because it needs to be crystal clear.
You're smelling what I'm stepping in as far as what needs to be in there. Maybe we'll discuss later. I'll leave it at that. Carry on.
And I think there's a difference between bids for products
I agree.
and hiring somebody to do work, to work on behalf of the county.
I agree.
And that's
I agree.
so maybe those are two different things.
I'm on the side of doing work on behalf of the county.
And that's not necessarily
Yeah,
what this
okay.
is. So if you want the other, then we probably need to put a different paragraph and flesh that out in detail so that, you know, in some of there was, I'll use an example, a contract that was entered into with the county attorney's office back in 1990 something. And part of that contract that I didn't even have, we had to ask the company for, was this recurring renewal that I didn't know anything about. And then a bill shows up, and because that recurring renewal language, you sort of stuck out. That ended at that point, but there should not be something like that that can carry from one, in this instance, an elected official that I had nothing to do with. I should be able to bind during the term I'm in office, similar to, you know, the contracts, and there's a whole other discussion related to how far out you can go to bind the governing body or the county or whoever. And I think that there needs to be some language that's pretty specific that gets what those parameters are. And I think that would help answer your inquiry, and we can do that as a part of this process. Call out pay, I don't think. The key is for call out pay, I guess the highlight is it doesn't apply to the sheriff's department and highway department. And that was at the request of each of those departments. Now, I guess you may end up in a situation where, let's say, emergency management ends up called out for an emergency. Health department, I mean, this will probably, I mean, what needs to happen is this all needs to be brought back up in a department head meeting just to kind of cover these. And the good news is we're having those once a month.
Every word you type makes it thicker.
But it's needed, isn't it? I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like I'm
it
just
is.
throwing stuff out there. I don't recall what was still needed. Vacation, this was revamped, and the reason why the maximum carryover hours was 120, and if you look at the footnote there, once a person meets a year, would no longer be, can only accrue up to 80 hours before shifting to the next column. So there's no way you could end up with 120, which is what was there before, and I think that was just a carryover from the last policy. Then this is language here where I'm going back and forth that sort of cleans up and modifies the 80. Sick leave. This is sort of rehashing the past, but an employee whose separation from service with the county that is not for cause shall be paid for all unused accrued sick hours of leave up to 160 hours. For accrued hours in excess of 160 shall be paid at 1/2 the ending rate of pay, subject to the employee status of separation.
Up there where it says sick leave benefits accrued, is that 960 hours?
Yeah.
We maxed it out at that
Is that, okay, that's.
several months back, because some people were paying like 1,800.
Well, yeah, okay.
So we maxed it out at that, and that's when we.
Okay.
implemented
That was
the
that was
short-term
a slush fund.
disability, yeah.
So I'm going back to vacation. And this is sort of going back to last week and probably give Ryan some flashbacks, but employees accrue paid vacation time according to the following schedule from the month of their anniversary date, and then effective the first day of the first full month. So accruing vacation time, does it start day 1, and then on day 30, you get 6.67? It'll probably have to be discussed at some point. I don't know if it's necessarily an issue, but I don't think it's.
I thought we kind of made a determination last week that they could get those, but they can't use them till their probation time is up. Is that not what we did?
I thought that's what we did last week.
You accumulate those hours.
You accumulate them, but you can't use any vacation time until your 6-month probation period is up.
So that probably needs to also be from the probation period earlier, also needs to be inserted in here.
But that's not implemented yet, is it? We just implemented that.
We made a motion last week.
Do that too.
No.
Not that.
I was trying to think which one we made a motion on.
That was, well, they're
On
on here.
the time off.
Yeah.
I can't think of the right term now. Vacation days, that's what we made the motion on.
Courthouse closure.
Right,
Yes,
yes.
yes. That is correct.
So, are you okay with me going back and bringing some of the language from earlier and adding it here, so it's also.
Correct.
Yeah.
When you make a motion on it, we'll do it.
Actually, did make it in here, at the very beginning.
Oh, it's up there.
But that doesn't make it in effect now. Correct.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. Just clarifying that.
How close are we to like this being an end product?
I thought we might get there today, but apparently we're.
To where we can make a motion to adopt this and be done, instead of making a motion every time we make a change.
Yeah, I think if you want the answers to some of those things, but if you want to go ahead and make a motion to change a policy, you can do that, and then that just be incorporated into this, but it go live, or similar to what you did last week, that vacation time will accrue, but cannot be used during the 180-day probation.
But what was the old policy? Was it the same? Oh, it's the same, isn't it? So it's already in effect.
Okay, so we're not changing.
I think it's really just, yeah.
Okay.
Short-term disability, I think this one is ready to go, but maybe waiting the green light from the insurance side to see if that language is accurate.
Did we not go through our insurance carrier we have now to implement that short-term disability?
We did, and I'll have to defer to Angie.
Did we get a response from Trust Point on that?
I thought
They don't do our short-term disability.
It was going through the health.
Benefits Direct.
Yeah. Is that not already implemented?
Yeah, it's already implemented.
I would say they're waiting on the verbiage to be approved by the insurance provider. Is that what I'm understanding, William?
Yes, and then one question for you is this comment, up to Coffee County whether to allow both sick leave and vacation use during the waiting period, or just one or the other. And that is that initial time period.
For the 7-day waiting period?
Right.
Well, I would think they'd want to use their sick time or their vacation time in that waiting period, instead of not getting a check.
Originally, it just said vacation. I don't think it said and/or sick leave. So I think that's the question. I think you would want to add sick leave.
I would think you'd want to add sick leave. I mean, I would think.
Either or, whatever you have.
Yeah.
Or if you had some comp time.
And/or.
You could use any time
You
you
can use
wanted
comp
to, if you had comp time.
PTO. PTO, there you are.
Any PTO would be allowable, how's that? So I don't understand, for additional information regarding short-term disability insurance, or waiting approval of insurance provider, I thought we already, if short-term disability has already been implemented.
Yeah, it has.
I think the insurance.
What approval are we waiting on?
I think HR is waiting for this verbiage to be okayed by the insurance provider. Am I reading into that right?
No, I think you're right. Does this capture what is intended under the short-term disability policy? And it may be an easy answer. I can go back and find the email from Christina, but I think this language needed to be vetted by who does the short-term disability.
Oh, I see, okay.
Short-term disability provider.
Right.
Okay.
Because if this does not state accurately what that process is, then you have something in your policy that does not match what short-term disability policy requires, and then you have a whole other issue.
Conflict of.
Well,
I think I asked the question a time or two ago about why they couldn't use sick leave or vacation time because of the 60%.
That's only while they are being paid. That's only why they are being paid. Right, by the insurance company. So if you got somebody that's getting, work comp, let's just say work comp 60% of your wage, you cannot add any money, they can only receive 60% of their pay,
And that's based on
based on work comp.
On work comp, okay.
You can't add $100
And I
a week
couldn't,
more. because
Jesse, I
it's-
couldn't remember what the response was.
Unless that happens at work. For sure.
It's still 60% of your wage. 60%, period.
I think work comp 70 actually.
Or whatever, I mean, whatever the criteria is, you can't add. You cannot take 70% and half of your comp time in that week because you're violating their percentage.
I know that.
You have to use it up prior before you go on to.
See, I didn't
Those
understand that. I was just thinking about, if they could make up to 100%, but if that's part of the deal.
Yeah, that's not how those.
I think there may have been an additional question about whether the short-term disability provider would have an issue. I think for short-term disability, there was the max is 66.6 or something like that. And if it's 66.6, this only covers 60% of it. Can you get a supplemental policy and pay for it to make up that 6.6% or something like that? And that was a question I think that needed to be vetted as well. Initially, if you recall, when we went into short-term disability, and I think I brought it up, is could somebody buy a supplemental policy and bridge that gap?
I think the answer to that was no.
The answer was no for that entire amount, but the max for short-term disability is 66.6. Now, I don't know where I'm coming up with that, but that's popping up for some reason. Then could you make up that difference with a supplemental policy? That's not a whole lot, but. So, anyways.
Wait, can you go back to that short-term disability? Would you guys be willing to put something in there about pregnancy with short-term disability?
I would say we probably, if there's any possibilities, yeah.
We had 3, and 2 were fine, but 1 had an issue, so I'm kind of feeling like we should have something in there about pregnancy and the amount of time that they're not automatically, I mean, they're eligible, they could be eligible for the 26 weeks, but most of the time, if you have a regular birth, no issues, it's 6 weeks. And if you were to have like a C-section or something, it's 8 weeks. Or it could be 26 if there were some other complications. So I feel like we need something spelling that out in there.
All of this has got to be documented from the doctor to.
Oh yeah, everything has to be documented from the doctor. I mean, that's not your decision or our decision, it's what the insurance requires from the doctor. Or maybe put something in there to put, check with the insurance provider regarding required documents for, I don't know.
I think the county policy should be provided to every county employee. And then they have it to review, because pregnancy is one of the exceptions, or one of the items within that policy that allows for short-term disability, and then it branches off for different variations of childbirth. But there are other things within that policy, and I don't know if we want to list them all here. I think if we list one, we need to list all of them, or with a paycheck and a statement, just hand out and give all the employees that short-term disability policy, and then they can have it. And it's incumbent upon each employee who's going to apply to review that and then
Or maybe put something in there about each employee will be responsible for reviewing the policy or something to that effect. I don't know.
You about gotta have them sign off on it or they didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have the word pregnancy in our old manual? Or is it not in the old manual?
We didn't have the short-term disability policy in the old manual.
Rules and regulations.
Equal out there, all on foot.
Personal days off, well, are we done with that? I mean, I think it needs to probably,
Digest.
yep. Personal days off. I think that's a decision you made. 2,080 work hours, 260 days. However, occasionally some calendar years contain 1 or 2 additional work days during these calendar years containing 2,088 work hours. Eligible non-exempt full-time employees will be permitted a paid personal day. During those calendar years containing 2,096 work hours, eligible employees will be permitted 2 paid personal days. The board in January of each year shall advise the department head the number of personal days available for that year. And if I remember right, one of the personal days, and I don't remember whether it was this year or last year, ended up being somewhere around Thanksgiving or Christmas. That was included as a personal day.
Christmas Eve this year.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that was
Right.
Christmas Eve this year.
And then the other one is at their discretion, if I remember right.
So just,
I knew we had it for some day, but I couldn't remember what day, what it was.
Christmas Eve falls on Tuesday, I think, something like that, anyway.
This calendar year is probably at least 2,088, with February we have 29 hours. Could even have 2,096.
okay. Nursing mothers, this was one of those things that had to be added by law under the Pump Act. Seasonal vaccine, this was added at the request of Amelia on behalf of the health department. I think there was mention of the professional learning. These will be offered, I think they were required previously, but they're optional now. Is that right? CPR training, defensive driving?
Yes, they're optional.
Okay. Health insurance, cafeteria plan. Stop me if you want me to stop, please.
was just going through them, and I see the highlighted pages when I stop, but next one on that's 34.
Okay.
It was,
Yep. Discipline. So, currently, there's, multiple pages regarding discipline and what that procedure is. I think the idea is to clean it up. One of the things was the, disciplinary committee, or was it the grievance committee?
It was a grievance committee.
So, and nobody even knew who was on it, and it's sort of backwards. The board would take action, and then it would kick to the grievance committee, who then could make a decision to then make a recommendation back to the board, which seemed kind of circular. So, I think that was, pulled, but discipline policy, I guess, for Jesse, 3 paragraphs, is that short enough for you?
I was strong-armed to make it 3. 3.5, I guess.
The problem resolution process, it has a process. I don't know what else to say other than it's here in writing. And I can tell you, as part of some previous complaints, it's triggered an investigation. Under the current policy, it required action, and then I think for those of you who were here, there was it turned into bringing in outside legal counsel, an investigation, and then action based on that investigation. So it is something that needs to be taken very seriously, because it can deal with violation of the law where the county can be sued.
Negligence, so to speak. Couldn't take care of the situation.
Salary review. I don't think that needs to be discussed in great detail. Tobacco use, I think, if I recall, this doesn't follow the language that, or okay.
I like to say, how did you figure this was only gonna take 30 minutes?
I didn't say 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was an hour, but some more spirited discussion than maybe.
Thanks for policy, man, we'll just put it on.
Yeah.
So you're fine with the tobacco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure like to have some.
Coffee County vehicles, this was one that was discussed and added, and this is important for those who operate any county vehicle. And it talks about, probably this last section here, anybody who receives a ticket that operates county vehicles has a duty and responsibility to report that to the supervisor in the clerk's office.
Is there putting anything to handheld? Is there anything implemented about, hands-free devices while vehicles in motion? I'm sure I brought that up.
No employee shall multitask while operating a county vehicle, includes but not limited to texting, reading, emailing, writing. Violation may result in immediate loss of driving privileges. If necessary, additional disciplinary action may be taken up to and including termination.
Sheriff's Department employees are exempt from this section.
Because they have to use their radios. Communicate with dispatch is what that's intended to. Then you guys have to use radios too.
That's what I mean.
That's what I was.
Is that gonna be classified as just,
I don't.
Just includes, but not limited to texting,
And it's
reading,
not texting,
emailing, writing.
reading, or emailing.
Yeah, that's not texting, reading, or emailing, or writing. There should be no exemptions on that.
So that can be. But that's what you were getting at, right?
Yep.
Emergency closings. 41. So in the spirit of our discussion last week, where and the motion that was made to, if you're scheduled for a vacation and the building closes, or if for an emergency situation, or in the next section, inclement weather, then you use whatever time you were using that was pre-designated, right?
correct. If you're on vacation, you're still on vacation.
Right. If you're sick, you're
still
sick.
So I threw in, emergency closings. And I don't know if that captures what you wanted to say.
Well, I think the phrase, popular phrase right now is PTO, paid time off. If you're scheduled for any paid time off, and the courthouse closes, you still use that paid time off.
Mm-hmm.
But here we have paid and unpaid, because somebody could have unpaid time off.
What's unpaid time off?
They don't have any vacation, personal, they don't have any
They
time
don't have any
available.
time and they're sick.
Then they just get it unpaid, so it needs to be probably, they just take it off and they don't get paid for that time. There are employees who do that.
Right.
And there are
But
some
you
people.
cover all the other instances, correct, as far as paid time off or not?
When an employee has scheduled any paid or unpaid time off in advance of an emergency courthouse closing and the employee is not scheduled to work due to their scheduled time off, the employee is not eligible for regular pay and any pay for that emergency period will be deducted from the employee's accrued balance bank. And then it covers vacation, personal comp as examples. The employee may request to not use the employee's accrued balance bank for emergency closings, and when an employee chooses to do so, the employee will not be paid for the time off. The employee does not have an accrued balance bank to use for emergency closings, and the employee was scheduled for any unpaid time in advance of the emergency closing. The employee is not eligible for regular pay, and the employee will not be paid for the time off.
Get it covered.
The same thing, but for inclement weather, and it's just changing from emergency closing to, say, inclement weather.
I would look at it as the same one. Inclement, you know, bad weather and,
You would.
yeah, it should be the same thing.
It should be, but
Courthouse closing.
yeah,
That's fine.
whatever.
Well, it's two different things, so that's how it is.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I mean, it spells it out in the top one.
What about the last day of the year thing again?
If you're on vacation, you're on vacation.
Well, I guess my only thought about the last day of the year would be that, I guess that's a known fact that can happen, so I wouldn't schedule my time off on that day, you know, would be my thought on that.
Well, I just, out of curiosity, I looked, we had 13 employees off on 12/29/23. Of those 13 employees, 11 have been with the highway department for a minimum of 5 years. One's with 5 years, one with 8 years, 3 with 10, 2 with 18, 2 with 22, 1 with 25, and 1 with 33 plus years. 6 of those 13 employees are maxed out on vacation. One of those employees is maxed out on sick leave, with the second one that we maxed out in 2024. I mean, those are pretty valuable employees to me, that I think,
I think they're valued very well.
I think it's, I think maybe it should be looked into a little bit deeper, and considered, before any harsh decisions are made, I guess is what I'm trying to say, on policy changes. Because that's a whole ton of combined years of experience.
You're saying they're already maxed out on vacation time?
I mean, not giving that time back the last day of the year when the courthouse closes.
So they need more time off?
No, I think they just need to be considered giving that time back when the courthouse closes early the last day of the year.
But won't they
In
be,
reference to the policy change that just happened last week.
but won't they be given that time if they don't take a vacation or day off?
If that's, I mean, that's like you just said though, if that's gonna be the reoccurring theme, that the courthouse closes every year, the last day of the year, half a day or whatever it might be, that employees just need to know that.
Well, it's been a reoccurring thing that people are on the vacation and they know they're on the vacation and they know the courthouse closes down the last day of the year, so they're on vacation, they don't get charged for the vacation, so what's the difference? You can't have it both ways.
It's been both ways. I mean, that's
what we're trying to get taken care of right here.
If they're totally aware of what's been happening in the history, they need to make sure that they use that, can't think what I want to say, use that 8 hours sometime during getting that far into the year end.
You know, I'd love to take the last day of the year off, you know, myself, but I don't get to. My company doesn't offer it. Other people's companies don't offer it. Other places don't offer it.
I mean,
We're probably one of the few businesses, and that's what we are. We are a business.
That's exactly right.
Probably one of the few businesses that you know, take that last day off. Being a known fact, to me, they ought to get, you know, use it sometime prior to that time.
If somebody leaves over a half a day pay, or a half a day, or a full day, that's been here for 15 plus years, that doesn't understand the benefit of longevity being here and the benefits of Coffee County, they've been sleeping for the last 18, 20, 15 years, I guess.
I understand where you're at, Adam. You got some valuable employees
I get
that
that.
had the opportunity to build up. But I think the employees themselves, you know, need to look at that history and use that 1 8-hour period, get it, take advantage of
To
it.
get that half a day,
Yeah.
you know.
So these guys figured up until, to the final hour of, okay, my last day of work is gonna be December 2nd at 11 o'clock. That's the day I need to take off to get all of my time that I've banked all year burnt. And so how do they figure in, because they don't wanna drop below their max. They wanna stay maxed out. So how do they determine, okay, a month before we're gonna close the courthouse early, who knows how much time, is it gonna be an hour, or is it gonna be 4 hours? That's just something to consider, I mean, for the employees that are at work every day.
Yeah.
I guess we could do it
Other
the
than
other
that,
way.
employees you don't want to lose.
Don't close the courthouse.
But the reason we
Can't
close,
conduct business.
the reason we close the courthouse on the last day of the year is because that cuts off the business date until,
Yeah,
Yeah, they can't take any money.
until, January 1 or 2. I mean, and that's normal within businesses to close. That's not addressing that, well,
So you
Yes.
guys, if that's closed, you guys close for the last half day also, Road and Bridge.
when we get the word, as soon as we can get people back in to go home, that's what we do. That's
Okay.
not always, a quick process.
So you don't get a determination, I don't know how that works, you don't get a determination.
It's not predetermined on time, so
Okay,
whenever,
okay, I understand that.
whenever our phone rings that the courthouse is closing, then we're calling and getting people back to the shop to go.
and that's depending on us to finish
Depending
So
on
what
the
the
time.
problem-
year's business.
So what
Yeah.
the problem would be,
We got a few more months to think about it.
if they left that whole last day, to say, and maybe they don't wanna come in on the last day of the year if they've been taken off since December 15th, or, I'm just throwing a figure out there. Then, the point is, they don't wanna come in one day to work a half a day to get paid for that whole day. They don't wanna split their vacation time.
I like Jesse's idea, we just won't close the courthouse, they'll find something to do, they can go clean the toilet.
Count paper clips.
Count paper clips, do inventory.
Inventory.
Something. That'll remedy it, we'll hear more about it.
And take care of it.
But we got some time to think about it. We almost,
But I had never thought of it from what you're describing there. I do see the point.
Termination of employment, employee acknowledgement form, the hiring checklist that was,
I guess.
revised somewhere. So on page 46, added computer equipment, cellular phone.
Think about that.
As far down as it goes.
sounds like we just need one amendment to the policy manual on the last day of the year. Is that where we're at?
Well, we gotta have answers on the other stuff that we've
Well,
put up there, but.
So the next department head meeting is Tuesday, I believe, March,
19th.
yep, and it would have been the week before, but that's spring break. So just FYI. And Steve usually shows up, but usually follows us.
Try to. Ron, how much time do you need for your,
We probably don't have enough today,
we don't have enough today?
so I know we're running a little over, so I don't know.
We don't have anything till 1:30, but I was just,
You guys probably want lunch.
I was too late for that.
There's still coffee and tea.
Yeah. Wrong liquids.
Vending machine still eats the dollar.
Yeah, vending machine steals your money, so.
Imaginary food that's good for your diet
Yeah.
comes out when you put the money in it, right?
I mean, if you guys take a break, and then I can try to be done by 1:30, I think is it next.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy
Deal.
James is here at 1:30.
I'd probably be pushing a little past that, but we can.
Well, and
see.
it might not be a bad thing I mean, he might be okay with being 10 minutes behind.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking
Only 10
for,
minutes, or?
well, he'll understand.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, I would be good for a 10
This one went over about 30 minutes, so,
I'll do a 10, 15-minute break.
yeah. Sure.
15-minute break. A 15-minute break. 15.
Aye.
We'll just go to, we'll come back at 12:15. No, 1:15.
We're already past that first hour.
Kill the switch. We're on break till 1:15.
What do you think?
Throwing stuff at us.
You should be.
For what?
We weren't legally, never mind.
We're back in session
We're
now.
back in session.
We cut our break now.
Question whether we're thinking about, postponing Ryan's presentation to Wednesday.
Yeah.
This is my district, District 3, isn't it?
This is the minimum maintenance roads up in the northwest quadrant, so yeah, it should be, there's a few that might be outside of yours. To the east, maybe it is all yours.
Under a tunnel?
A couple there around the tunnel.
Some of them be,
Sure,
yeah, all that. Some of them be ways, wouldn't they? Might not be. Nope.
I can't
10,
remember
11,
exactly
12,
where that line is.
13, 14, and 12 must be the way.
This will be everything north of 16th Road and west of 75 Highway.
7's mine.
I can't remember where the line is. Not that it matters.
It's right there on the wall.
Jesse comes all the way down, Jesse comes down to 10th Road.
Yeah, everything down here, but questions like up north of New Strong.
They look like they're gonna be in mine. 10 and 11 will be in mine.
Yeah.
22nd, looks like yours is East Road.
What's the north-south road?
Homestead.
Homestead. Oh, those fingers that cut off.
Mm-hmm.
So that route might capture 13, 14, 12. Maybe.
Yeah, as far as the work session, I got these minimum maintenance roads, got kind of a recap of the 2023 projects, and then the 2024 project books, to go through. So, I mean, with time restraints, if you guys want to push it back till Wednesday, that works for me.
We was ahead a long ways this morning, and then the policy manual discussion gobbled up all of our time.
Well, we don't want you to feel rushed or do it. We want Greg to feel rushed,
right.
so.
You're correct. That's fine with me, sure.
You've got time Wednesday? We can start off first thing, 9:05 Wednesday morning.
Yeah, work on that, because he's signing other than that.
Okay.
Work for you. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
We'll review everything.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good week. Take care. Bobby?
If it pleases the commissioners, I'd like to request a 45-minute executive session with the commissioners, our county attorney, Mr. Greg Varnberg, and myself.
I didn't know my clock went past 15 to 30 minutes, but it does. Was that verbiage good, Wade?
No.
No, okay.
He got it.
I didn't figure it was.
So, and may need Greg's help on this, your help. This is specific to the financial affairs of a corporation.
Yes, sir.
And, is it specific to a certain corporation, or,
Yes,
and are you at liberty to say which one?
TEM.
Okay. And then for you and or Greg, the confidential financial information relating to that company is what you're wanting to discuss.
Yes.
Do you think? I'm always anxious with 45 minutes, because if we get off into somewhere where we can't go, then I'd rather make it shorter and come back. But
We
does
can,
that make
with
sense?
30, make you feel better?
I'm okay. I just want to make sure that we just don't sit there and then,
Stay on track.
well, yeah, 30's fine.
Very good. We'll request 30 minutes for what exclusions, or what reasons?
It's the confidential financial information of TEM under the exception to the Open Meetings Act that deals with financial affairs. Right?
Yes, sir. Trade secrets and financial affairs of a corporation. 30 minutes, the commissioners, our attorney, Mr. Greg Varnberg, and myself.
Also move.
I'll second that.
Moved by me, seconded by Rick Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at 1:22 for 30 minutes. And it's 1:19 by my clock.
Thank you, sir.
Make the switches on yet.
Yep. I'm good. It was open for 45.
Oh,
You want me to?
Yeah. Press for time.
hey Brad? Please, they're in there ready. Oh, okay.
We are back. We're gonna wait on Wade for the verbiage.
So, gonna be a little more specific this time. It will be under the same exception as the last one, which is the financial affairs, trade secrets of a corporation. That corporation that was mentioned earlier is TEM.
TEM?
TEM.
Tom Edward Martin? Yep.
Got it. The caveat this time, going back into executive session for how long?
I'm gonna say 20 minutes.
20 minutes will
It's
be
15 and 10.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 25, sorry.
25.
20, did be 10, yeah.
Yeah, didn't
Well-
mean to correct, but.
Yeah,
Well-
25 minutes.
Focus on the trade secret component of TEM related to the TEM's CHIPS application. And last time it had both financial affairs and trade secrets. It didn't mention the CHIPS application process. This one will probably dovetail into some financial affairs, but will be heavily loaded related to trade secrets.
I'll move.
Second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Huguenin. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We will enter at, we're gonna give 2 minutes, 11:58 for 158. 158.
I'm just trying to beat the day.
No, 20 for Judy was in the office.
I see. I cannot remember what her title is.
All right, we're back.
Only that, no action's being taken, but I believe Mr. Berenberg has a brief update to the commission, which would speak to the public, I guess, in general.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Greg Berenberg with Raymond James. I appreciate the opportunity to be here this afternoon, and I wanted to give you an update on the CHIPS Act projects that are being proposed at the KSMC site near Vito Junction. As many of you may recall, the CHIPS Act was signed into law August 9th of 2022, and the responsibility for administering the funds and making awards from the CHIPS Act was granted to the U.S. Department of Commerce. U.S. Department of Commerce released an outline of the Notice of Funding Opportunity, which really spelled out the requirements for submitting applications. The process starts with submitting a statement of interest, then followed by a pre-application, and then those who make it through the pre-application process are given the opportunity to submit a full application. The response to the Department of Commerce has been somewhat overwhelming. They received 570 statements of interest from companies that are interested in various aspects of the semiconductor production sector. We worked with several local entities. There are 6 companies that are part of the KSMC site. And last summer, as you are aware, we submitted a full application for a project that was led by EMP Shield, which is referred to as Trusted Electronic Materials, LLC. After submitting that application, everyone was anxious, obviously, to hear feedback from Commerce and to know that applications are being reviewed. The Department of Commerce has had a number of applications that they've had to consider. As many of you may have noticed here in recent weeks, the Department of Commerce has started making some awards, most notably to Global Foundries was the most recent one, and then it's widely publicized that they have been in discussions with Intel and potentially other companies. Secretary Raimondo from the Department of Commerce announced that the Department of Commerce expects to make some additional announcements on other awards here in the coming weeks, and so we're very encouraged by that. But we continue to wait and just hear from them in terms of the status of the EMP Shield Trusted Electronic Materials application and then the other companies that are there at the KSMC site. But one of the developments that has been a real positive for the project is the continued and increased involvement of 2 individuals that are internationally recognized for their technology and expertise. Dr. Jesse Russell and Dr. Carl Wyatt were invited to join the team to help with the Trusted Electronic Materials application last summer. Dr. Jesse Russell is widely internationally recognized for his engineering work in the wireless communication sector, and most notably he's credited with being the creator of the digital cell phone. Dr. Carl Wyatt brings a lot of expertise to this project as well, in that he has spent 40 years in the technology field, working at companies like AT&T, Bell Labs, Motorola, and Intel for a number of years. Jesse and Carl have increased their involvement in this project, and also are helping us chart the path forward as we continue to work with Department of Commerce on the application, and also thinking about the funding that we will need to complete the application process. So I know there will be more information shared with the public here soon, but I wanted the commissioners to know that the project does stand in a very good position. We feel very encouraged by some of the support we've received, and especially appreciate Dr. Russell and Dr. Wyatt and their increased involvement in this project. You know, having two technology experts that are recognized worldwide being involved in a project here in Coffee County is something very special. And I think that not only increases the chance of getting support from an award or for an award from the Department of Commerce, but it also helps ensure the success of the project, you know, once up and operational. So we're very encouraged at Raymond James about where we stand on this project, and we hope the community is as well. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have the update's great, so sounds pretty positive.
Yes.
I think you're right to have two individuals like that be interested in the project here in Coffee County is phenomenal.
I would agree.
Gotta have a lot of tools in that toolbox if you're gonna ever build anything.
That's correct, and I don't want to focus solely on Dr. Russell and Dr. Wyatt, but this project does include several world-class partners that are second to none in their fields, and it's not just Dr. Wyatt and Dr. Russell, but the efforts of EMP Shield to advance the project and pull in some of the best partners really does put this project on solid footing for success. So.
Certainly appreciate you coming in and giving us a brief update, and we look forward to working with you on down the road, Greg.
Very encouraging.
I look forward to being back with even more updates, but we do stand in a good position, and I'm very excited about the prospect for this project. So happy to share that report with you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Be careful going home, or to your next meeting. Also, use a little good news today, right?
Yep.
Great. We'll see you soon, I'm sure, on the jail bond financing.
Yeah, happy to pick that up whenever it's appropriate.
Have you seen the payment schedule?
No.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So you probably need to take that so you're aware of what's going on and when that I talked to Joe and someone in this neighborhood.
Yeah, okay. So
If you take that with you.
Thank you.
I'll get you a note on that.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Be careful. I know you're rushed to head out the door.
Sure. Take care.
Take care. Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
What a day.
Been productive.
It has. I believe we've come to the moment of roundtable.
So, I'm gonna ask Don, do you want to talk about what you called me about, or do you wanna wait?
I think we need to bring something up sometime. You're talking about going to executive session or just doing there?
An executive session.
I think we need to have an executive session for 15 minutes, would probably cover it.
Okay. Request a 15-minute executive session. This is under the attorney-client exception. Myself and the board, and it's to discuss potential legal issues regarding a subordinate board.
15 minutes.
I so moved.
Second. Moved by Hughie, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at 2:34. Give us 2 minutes. Go ahead, Tom.
Until
they were all gone, and then it was done.
Alabama, Mississippi, and North Carolina are real close to passing the paperless voting, no machines.
Oops, sorry.
Back in is.
Yeah, we're good. It's on. We're back. No action taken at this time?
No action.
You done with roundtable? No?
It's enough for one day.
Oh, good.
Sure.
I'm gonna throw the timer at you. Watch time fly. Yeah. Steve, you have the roundtable? I'm good. Don? I'm done. Wade?
Nope.
Tom?
I don't have something.
You don't have something? Brad, do you know anything? Yeah, she says no, she does not have her own table. Yeah. Got 3 or 4 elections
Anything?
cooking. I'm trying to figure out how to get that done. 3 or 4 elections cooking? Yeah.
You got anything for roundtable?
No, other than, I guess, and we'll have a department head meeting about the time clock stuff, but, if, I don't know if there's something to reconsider on just letting Road and Bridge and Sheriff do their own thing, and they can just have what we have and everybody else get on paper. I mean, I don't know. I guess be thinking of maybe what you think we should do, or, and then that way they can do whatever they're wanting and not feeling like we're trying to micromanage, because like I said, I'm not trying to do that at all. I just, if like I'm an administrator of that system, and then they're an administrator of that system, and I go in and I make changes, and they go in and they make changes, we're changing each other's stuff. So we really don't want to do that either.
That'll cause havoc in the CIC side.
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm not for giving up. We paid a lot of money for it. And I think it's something that needs to be.
We'll keep
Figure it
going,
out.
but I mean, if you know, if we can't make people happy with exactly what they're wanting,
Maybe we'll find the answer for that, though.
maybe, I mean, like I said, we'll keep going, but, I don't know.
I don't expect everybody to be happy with it. I just expect it to flow
Right.
correctly.
Yeah, and that's what we've been working on, and I figured it'd take 2 or 3 months, but I hope this month we get it to where it's pretty darn close, you know.
It definitely needs reform better than what it's doing now. Because
It's doing
it isn't fair for your office.
Yeah,
It isn't fair for some of, especially the 2 big ones, you know, sheriffs and where they got a lot of possibility of overtime, sheriff and road and bridge. You gotta keep the words. And I think all of us know that, but.
now, and we're working daily, I mean, there's not a day goes by we're not in there
I understand.
trying to get something fixed,
I don't think you're micromanaging, I think you're just managing the program. I mean, that's what I take from it.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't.
You're not,
You're just taking care of the program.
I'm just trying to keep from having when you get too many fingers in a pot, you know what that can do. And I'm just trying at this point to keep our payroll system good and making sure everyone gets paid, because I know if someone else messes it up and someone doesn't get paid, it's gonna be us, no matter what.
Right.
And I don't want that, so.
I understand.
But anyway, that's all I have today, so. And we will have payroll and stuff ready for Wednesday for signing, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm testing machines, so.
Well, nobody else, oh,
Can I get copies of this City of Leroy?
the accounting for 20
expenditures?
Sure.
Do you have, I mean, is that
it's an acknowledgement, which is great, but if I gotta pass it on and it
Oh.
winds up in a box, it doesn't help either.
Okay.
So, I mean, do you have another one where you can just get a copy of,
I
or
don't
do
know
you
what came
need
from
this?
that, it
I don't know either.
just came in the mail. Is that the infrastructure and the?
Infrastructure.
Parks.
And the Parks and Rec?
I mean, I'm willing to sign it and send it on,
Yeah.
but and I don't need it like
Yeah, I'll-
ASAP, I just,
I'll just, whenever it gets down there, if they'll give it back to me over and I'll make copies.
that'd be great, thank you. Cause I'm I'll make me a folder of each city when they start turning theirs in, so it keeps me in tune, it'll keep me in tune.
Keep you in tune.
I mean, I don't know how else to word it.
Yeah.
Because,
Keep you up on.
I mean, I was the one that asked for this, so I need to
Mhm.
somewhat be diligent and read through it thoroughly. But Ryan's gonna talk about this Wednesday.
All good? If nobody else has anything, we'll recess at 2:58 until Wednesday morning. Flip the switch, we're done. Thank you.
We both turned theirs in.